Got it. Right. Welcome, everybody, ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, them, theys, and theirs, to episode 38 of Heresy Hammer. My name is John. You can find me on Instagram at D6 Miniatures. I'm joined today by my battle brother from another brother, Rob Medwell.
Hello.
At Medis Miniatures.
Hello. I've got a Nuncio Vox on today. I'm trying this out
Yeah.
and seeing how it goes.
Sporting a snazzy pair of earmuffs.
Yeah, they make my head quite wide, I think, is the only thing I would say. They're not particularly sleek, are they?
They're not sleek, no, but I mean, you're not got the smallest of heads anyway. It's been perfect.
Well,
quite a square, boxy kind of chap, really. Lee will hopefully be joining us later. He keeps rolling one for his reserve rolls and won't turn up.
That's why we've got the Nuncio Box. That's
exactly. I know. Yeah. All this time, effort, and money, they still can't turn up on time.
Can't turn up.
So, well, hopefully Lee's going to join us for the second half of the show, all being well, assuming he's finished hosing cats out of trees or whatever it is he's been up to. So yeah, welcome to what is now officially the #1 Heresy podcast that Rob and I present. We've got a lot to talk about today, which is our second part of our Dark Angel stuff, which will probably come secondary to all of the drama that's happened in the past 7 days.
Honestly, it's been a wild roller coaster of emotions, hasn't it? And it's been quite literally a roller coaster of emotions.
Well, so much so that we've actually got some live breaking news from the queue to get books at Warhammer World from one of our close friends who is legitimately trying to stop scalpers in the flesh getting hold of books. So I'll update you in a little while.
As that goes,
but let me tell you, it is just a bizarre situation. But tell you who's not bizarre, and that's BattleBling.
Yep.
Great supporters of the show. Just about to order some stuff from them later today. In fact, I need to put for a little order. So why don't you go and order lots of 3D printed stuff for them, especially if you're into the 8mm scene, which you can't buy anything from Games Workshop directly, so you might as well go and spend your money with BattleBling. And if you use the code Heresy Hammer at checkout, you get 10% off. Thanks so much for those guys. Thanks so much for supporting our events, etc. Oakhampton Games and Curtain Games. There's lots of plastic on the horizon we're going to talk about soon. Why don't you pre-order some of it from these guys? They've always looked after both me and Rob. The base just down the road from me. I'm going to an event hosted by James from Apostate Terrain at their venue in a couple of weeks. So I'm looking forward to that. First run out of the Iron Warriors 2.0, assuming I can get the bases done. But we're
exciting.
Very, very excited. Yeah. Very excited indeed. So yeah, go and check out Curtain Games. They always have good stuff. Great speedy service and well priced. Beowulf Miniature Printing. I also need to give Jack a shout later and get some apothecary bits.
I've just bought some charnable sabers off of Jack.
Have you?
Yeah, the 10 charnable sabers for a command squad. I won't be using all 10 for a command squad. That's mad. But I'll be sharing them out between. I'll be sharing them out between units, I think. But yeah.
Ooh, sexy. Everyone loves a charnable weapon. Charnable saber is king shit. So yeah, go and check out Jack's stuff. He's got a huge catalogue of bits and bobs. Right. So I believe Lee picked these out, didn't he? So we're going to go in. We're going blind, mate. We're going in dry. So
not seen any of these as of yet.
No, nor have I. So I'm going to level with you. I've had a little bit of a tingle for Space Wolves recently.
Oh my god!
I know it's. Don't worry, I'm suppressing it.
Is it because you saw Rama _minis Space Wolves and they were like, wow, those look actually really, really good and not derpy at all? And
this is the problem, right? I'm like, fuck, this is legitimately cool.
Yeah,
these are legitimately cool, by the way. He's absolutely nailed that grey.
I don't know what heads they are because they're not GW heads, I don't think, but they look absolutely baller as fuck, and they're absolutely awesome heads for Space Force, aren't they? They're definitely not GW heads, though, are they?
No, I don't think they can be. I think these are brilliant. I think honestly, the grey is just these guys look like they are not to be fucked with.
Yeah, and the snow
little Vexilla.
Yeah, the Volkite Glow. He's done an amazing job with this. Well done. You should be proud. You should be
really, 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 really proud.
Yeah.
And then I thought it was Criterion paints, but it's not. It's Criterion paints.
Excellent. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm an enormous fan of this. I saw this on the Instagram the other day. It popped up on my feed as someone that I didn't actually follow. And I was like, holy shit. Why is this skin been hiding out? Which rock has he been living under? Because this is wildly good.
Yeah, this is good. I like the combination of the Mark 5 or Mark 2 jump pack with the Chaos Space Marine bits as well. I think that's it's a great kit bash for Night Lords, I think.
This guy's done an amazing job. Who else has done an amazing job? It's good old Joff. No, I like Joff. He's a cool guy. He's been working on some Ultramarines recently. I think he's been painting Sons of Horus for quite a while, but he's now getting into some Ultra Boys.
I'm working on a charity project of which
Are you?
Joff _ Miniatures is also going to be. I think he's doing a Contemptor, and I'm doing a Spartan, and various other people are
Is
doing
this for
various other parts.
the Nova Open charity?
No, it's not a Nova Open.
Oh.
I'll have to double check. Kind of.
You've got so many charity projects.
I've got so many charity projects.
A philanthropist.
I just can't. I've got to compartmentalize lots of these projects. That's the problem. I only have the bandwidth to be like, okay, I'm ready to start this project. What's it for? Okay, right, cool. But we will share more information as the kind of. So basically, it's an Iron Hands army that you can win in a raffle, painted by lots of artists on the internet. I think it's around 2 or 3K. And it could be yours, but we will have more information on that when it is officially kind of like properly tickets go on sale for it.
Wonderful. And then we've got paint _goat. Oh, awesome. I think this is cool. Yeah, this is really so good.
Cool. And a totally like maybe a 3D printed Kiri's assault cannon. You don't really see much Kiri's, but I think that's a pretty cool assault cannon.
It is really cool. This is the difficulty now with how good 3D printing's got, because I'm looking at it thinking, is that from one of the 40K kits?
Yeah,
or
I don't know.
Is it 3D printed?
Yeah, I don't know. It looks like it fits quite nicely just from that picture. But
Paint Goat, why don't you comment below and let us know? Or if you happen to know, any comment, or if you just got any comment about anything that we do at any point, just write it in the comments below. Tell your friend.
Yeah, awesome job. You should be very proud of both Joff Miniatures and Paint Goat.
Ah, dearie me. Again, Dark Angels. So it would only be right, given them to like Dark Angels, to include. Don't die.
Sorry,
I don't know how to edit the show, so you can't die. So Jonah Paints has been around for a wee while, done an excellent job of just making flat black look super interesting.
Yeah, so he's done a lot of stuff of late and been posting a lot of stuff. Awesome Kratos he did recently as well. Yeah, this absolutely looks bloody brilliant. Looks great.
So Edge Thomas, I saw this a couple of weeks ago, and I thought to myself, oh, he's done such a good job that I thought this was in one of the cabinets of Warhammer World. I'm going to level with you.
Okay.
I thought someone had done a Tonka style reposting of something they'd seen at Warhammer World.
But actually, it was in fact
his own work.
Just his own work. Edge Thomas and his own cabinet in his own house, not Warhammer World. Well, he's done an absolutely brilliant job with these. These are really neat, really tidy, like the battle damage, and obviously lots of effort on the scratches. Which must have taken an extraordinary
mega effort. That's Ollie Mew levels of effort on the scratches there.
100%.
Well done, son. Heresy Thursday. Right, we've got some stuff to rattle through, and we will rattle through bits because we're probably going to have to spend a bit of time on some other stuff. So first things first, these exist. They're in tiny. Some of them have got guns. Anything else you need me to say?
Absolutely not.
Cool. This was unexpected.
Totally unexpected. I love them, but I hate them at the same time. So I love that they exist. I utterly hate that you would need to buy like 5 packs of these to be able to make a small heavy support squad with Ilias assault cannons. And that is the fundamental problem with these upgrade kits, which is that they will utterly bankrupt you in order to make your army look great. And they look like, don't get me wrong, they're amazing. Like, look at them. They're like the fucking sword and the axe, like the spear especially, brilliant.
Oh,
it's going to cost you £1 million to be able to do an Ilias. And the thing is that you're just going to go, wow, I could spend 10 quid on some rotor cannon upgrades and just say they're really assless, and literally nobody will care. Or I could spend, 200 quid on 5 or 6.
Yeah. I'm working on a small Imperial Fist Commission at the moment, and we're using the Proteus pattern rotor cannons, same as you did on yours, and they just look like assault cannons. So there you go. And they have cost a tenth of what equipping this would have done. These are so good, though. I mean,
brilliant.
Don't get me wrong. Like, if you want entire resin assault cannons, you'll be able to sell the other bits for bank because they're so lovely.
100%. Yeah, and actually, that in fairness, that's a good point. Which is that you could buy 5 sets of these or 10 sets or whatever, and then just sell the bits off, and you you'd be able to make most of your money.
Yeah, I want. If anyone ever comes across a spare one of those power mauls, I want it for a graviton mace, please.
Yeah,
So
it looks awesome.
Me up.
And then it was great to see the Predator Assault Cannon as well, which is an upgrade for Blood Angels, but also Imperial Fists, and just great to have this as an option, I think.
Yeah, wait to see how much it costs. If it's anything more than teens of pounds, I'm going to be livid.
Yeah, I think it needs to be £15, right? And no
I think that'll be fine.
Yep.
16, 18, I would go. Anything more than that, get fucked. Okay, right. So it was the Las Vegas Open, and they did a big reveal, and we all knew it was coming. And for some reason, people aren't super happy with these. And to those people, I say, grow up.
Like this, first of all, I thought was a complete and utter fucking power move by GW, in a sense that they basically dropped an entire army. There's more to come.
Yeah.
But they basically dropped an entire army in one fell swoop, which I just thought was such a baller fucking move. And for me, like, and we've spoken about it on our Patreon show, which costs as little as £3 a month to join.
Yeah, don't worry. I'll do the hard sell in about 3 minutes time. Don't worry about it. I've got it in the bag.
But the fact that this is all in plastic just makes it so much more accessible than the resin. I've worked with the resin. It's not nice to work with. I know that there's some resin like cut me and I believe resin, but like honestly, these are just better for me. And I absolutely love them. And as a result, I think we bought tickets, didn't we, to go to a Solar Auxilia, Kerry Solar Auxilia.
Yeah, we have. Yeah,
so we're going to have to buy a couple of these, I think. Now
we are. So Curtain Games, put some aside for us, please. Thanks very much. We'll be in touch very shortly. If this is priced the same as this started, if this is 125 quid,
it's a no-brainer, isn't it?
This is a zero-brainer. Well, considering a Dracosan is what, £114 at the moment. If you buy resin one,
and every single Dracosan I've had to use has always had terrible mold slip issues as well.
Awful mold slip on the track. The tracks and those little bits at the front, those track guards, always break off.
Yep, absolutely. So this is a huge win and just such a power play by GW. And I think, like, not to speculate, but I would have thought that if they're going to do a release for Mechanicum in the next 6 to 12 months, it would follow a similar format to this.
Oh, so can you imagine?
I think you'd see maybe Thralls or Thalax, like one or two Castellax.
Thalax, Colour Castellax, and a Phantar in a box with an Archmagos.
Yeah. I think that and they just like release a ton of stuff all at one go like they did with this. I think just proves that GW can do an army drop and do it well as well.
Yeah, like I said, this is not everything they've released. As I said, we've still got other things to look at. So this is the plastic las rifle section. So people have bemoaned that there maybe aren't as many rivets as there are on the resin ones. Shall I say?
Just get a grip, I think.
Grip, exactly. I think one thing that we discussed again on the Patreon show is how do we think they're based? I think from looking at these, they might be on 28s.
You know, now that you say that, and now looking at them, I think I was certain that they were 32, but looking at them, I think they're 28s as well. Yeah,
that's good because I've already got some 28mm movement trays.
Okay, excellent.
The command section. This looks great. That banner is unlikely to keep constantly breaking on you.
This is just fantastic, isn't it? There's so much
I love this
detail to it. The Nuncio guy is particularly great, and I can see this being at Golden Demon. Lots of people doing like a little squad of these at Golden Demon in Essen, not in the UK.
Not in the UK.
Not in the UK. And there are some other head swap options I think that I've seen for this guy. Very and I've started to see lots of Lannister style kind of like because he's got all the lines on and stuff. So I've seen some Lannister kind of like mock-ups, which I think have been pretty cool. So if I'm going to do a force, I think I'd do it in House Lannister, I think.
Okay, well, that's cool. You have fun with that.
Okay, I will.
I don't love this. If I'm being honest with you, I think it's a tad derpy. But I think every time I've looked at it, it's grown on me a little tiny bit more. When I first saw it, I thought, this just looks like a biffa bin with legs.
Yeah.
It's a wheelie bin, by the way, for anyone, or a garbage can for our international viewers. A skip. A skip with legs.
It's quite
a chicken
blocky.
Skip.
It's quite blocky. I'll give you that.
But actually now looking at it, I'm thinking, I don't know, maybe I was wrong, Rob. Maybe I was wrong. I don't like being wrong. I'm not often wrong, but maybe I'm wrong.
I think once we start to see these in different paint jobs, I think that it will further solidify your change of opinion. I think that yeah, I think
really
that
hope
once
so.
you start seeing these in the wild, you know, I think that I think they could be potentially be pretty cool.
Good. I like that. This is fucking cool. Everyone knows I love Vanquishers. I've always been a Vank man. I'm Vanquisher through and through. Cut me and I bleed Vanquisher.
And I want to say that this is more detailed than the GW kit,
100%.
right?
It's got more rivets. This is where your rivets have gone. People that didn't like taking your rivets off your random regular men's and put them on this.
So yeah, like some cool trim. And actually, if you're a Astra Militarum player and want Lehman Rust, like I think this is a better alternative. Like,
yeah, 100%.
Bit fancy.
I think also as well. We saw plastic Krieg teased at the start of the year on the Christmas Day or Boxing Day reveal. So I think that you would not be surprised to see some stuff coming in that range that can probably port over, and stuff in this range that can port back over. But it's got everything you want. Like, it's got the extended hull, it's got the trench rails, it's got the different joint for the weapon on the front, it's got Vanquisher barrel, and the fact that you get the Vanquisher and then you get also the auto cannon, las cannon variants in the box as well.
It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
So,
and I'd imagine they'd be easy to magnetize, I would have thought as well.
Yeah, Mars pattern in plastic is just fucking wild.
This is another contender, I think, that you shall see at Golden Demon.
Oh yeah,
like
in Essen, not in the UK.
Not in the UK.
No. This is also brilliant. So from what I'm imagining, then we've got obviously your strike tank and your assault tanks are two different kits.
Yeah.
The Demolish is a super good option. Besides the Volkite has the plasma cannon as well.
All good.
I think these are all good. And again, if they do the smart thing and make the weapons available separately, so the weapon sprue, that would be very clever. Whether they will or not, I don't know. They didn't with the Predator, actually, to be fair. They did with the Dreadnoughts, but they haven't done with the Predator. So perhaps we are barking up the wrong tree there. But yeah, on a different tree. Dracasan, we've already discussed. It's brilliant. It's a cool little bit of kit. It's lovely detailed. I think again it's as detailed as the resin one, but it's not in resin, which is a huge boon for all of us. Yeah. And then the Velataris. Well, we've seen this in the Vatar Storm section. We've not seen the axe wielding guys yet, but we're just going to safely assume that they're on their way.
Yeah. So it was interesting because somebody posted a guy called, I think, Steve Scalpers. He used to work for GW. Yep. He doesn't work for them anymore. But
who sculpted this kit?
Who did this kit? So a couple of things about this kit. He said the sergeant is actually put together wrong.
That's wrong guy.
That's the
wrong
bits are the wrong parts for this kit. But also he said that when he was tooling it up, that there were axes to go along with this kit as well. So and that suggests to me that they were in plastic and not like forge or resin upgrades.
Yeah. I think that would be fucking bananas if they kept doing that again.
Yeah. So I think that that just because we haven't seen it, it doesn't mean that these guys can't be axe wielding kind of.
No. I would be blown away. That would be an enormous one step forward, two steps back if they then did a resin upgrade kit for axes for Velataris.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that'd be nuts, wouldn't it? But the other thing to say, I think that you could use, unless they specifically create a companion section, you can use these as your companion section as well, which is basically like your hyper elite weapon skill 5, 2 wound kind of guys who are great in close combat.
If you don't know what we're talking about, we have just started, Rob and I, a new series on the Patreon for Tacticas for the Solar Auxilia. So we're going to do it in 3 parts. We started off, the first one was posted yesterday, where we're going through the combat doctrines and how the tertiaries work. So essentially how you're going to think about putting a list together, some sort of basic list ideas. We're then going to sort of flesh it out with going through some of the unit entries on the next show, the next Patreon show, and then we will sort of round it all up with synergies and some army list building ideas in the 3rd installment, which will be sort of early end of Feb. That'll be actually so if you'd like to subscribe to Patreon, we'd love to have you. It's a mere £3 a month. You can spend more if you want to, but you don't have to, and you get all of the additional content. We've got about on for like 100 hours of additional content now over on the Patreon, plus all of the other stuff that we have, access to the Heresy Hammer Lodge on Facebook, early access to tickets, and yeah, giveaways, um, miniatures if you want them. We've got obviously the 3D renders for the new miniature, and Rob's been feverishly painting the new miniature, I believe. Is that
Yeah,
up on your Instagram?
paint two of them now.
Oh,
Yeah, you can see it on
the Metas Miniatures
Menace
Instagram.
Miniatures. Yeah, but
Good.
remember, it cannot be bought. You cannot buy
No.
them. We are not selling them either. These are gifts, merely gifts to be
Yeah.
given to say thank
For
you.
your fealty and loyalty.
Yes, they cannot be bought, and nor are we selling them, nor will we ever sell them.
No. As soon as the production run is done, then the file will be destroyed. So you will
That's it.
receive a physical kit. Anyway, why don't you know, log on to Patreon and find out. It's lovely. Patreon.com/Heresy Oh, this is so good to have in plastic because you can now squadron Malcadors and they're really fun and they're really good and they were 120 quid a go. And if these come in at, say, 65, maybe £70 a go, Typhon money, then we're getting there. We're in business, guys. Rob, Malcador, good. Yes,
Yep,
agreement.
great. And I think
Cool.
that, it's just beyond the box that we've seen as well. Just another edition, baller move by GW. Love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
And then this is all of the variants that come with the Malcador.
This is nuts. The amount of options for this is
Yeah.
insane. Yeah.
Yeah, and by the way, anyone who's ever built a Malcador before will know that the heavy stubbers or las cannons or heavy flames or multi lasers sit on the sponsons immediately break as soon as you try and sport them anywhere.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Perfect. Right, Rob, go.
So,
do you want to set the scene, or is there anyone out there alive that doesn't know what happened?
I will set the scene from my perspective.
Okay.
So 2 weeks ago.
Sit back here.
2 weeks ago. It must have been 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago today, around, in fact, 30 minutes ago. We were many of
I'm
us.
just going to check our correspondent on the ground.
Do it.
See,
Many of us were trying to purchase The End and the Death on GW's new website. And I think that many of us went in with a lot of trepidation because this is the final book in the Siege of Terror series. Lots of us needed it to finish off the series. And if you know anything about kind of limited edition things since kind of like COVID and things like that, it's been harder and harder to buy things that are limited edition because you're having to battle bots and things like that. And that was certainly the case what we saw with the PS5 during COVID, and it's becoming, and it has become more of an issue as time has gone on with these limited edition books from GW, and GW to some extent try to, I guess, combat it with a queue system, but I think that created more problems than it solved. So what we saw on Saturday was that very, very few people, it seemed, actually got hold of the book. I knew of one or two people who actually was able to buy the book, which is pretty unusual when you look back at like the Sailor War, which is that basically everyone I knew had been able to get the book because they were on at a certain time and they were able to access it. What then happened over the course of the Saturday and then the Sunday was that it was quite clear that a number of scalpers, and scalpers are just people who buy things, they flip them, and they sell them.
They would like to call themselves resellers.
Yes, scalpers, resellers. A number of them had bought them and were already selling them on eBay within minutes of being able to purchase them. And then, so some people had got like 10 listings for the same book, right?
So previously, I think as well, just to give a bit of context, there's always been a bit of an issue with scalping on these books, but it's people that have, I think, have a watching brief on the Warhammer world, have some degree of knowledge, have been able to secure one, and with the intention of flipping it. Yeah. I feel like this feels like the first time where there was an organized movement within the sort of reselling community.
Yeah.
Who had identified that this was a quick and easy way of making a fairly substantial profit, especially if you could snag multiple copies.
Yeah.
And that the Games Workshop were ill-equipped to do much about preventing it.
I think that's the perfect way to describe it. And I think the problem was from the outside, not only were they ill-equipped, but it seemed like they were wantonly ill-equipped. Like, so it would be pretty easy for a multi-billion-dollar company to a company that's bigger than the UK fishing industry it would be easy for them to put something like a simple capture in place, even to start the ball rolling on protecting it from bots. Not that some bots AI can easily tell what a capture is, but so what basically happened was that also on top of that, resellers were also trolling the community by sort of scrolling through their PayPal feeds or whatever and putting that on Twitter. So it was clear.
X, formerly known as Twitter.
It was clear
that one Elon afterwards.
It was clear that this was a problem, and then we had heard on Sunday night from a few people on the inside. We have sources, being the top Heresy podcast. We have
that Rob and I present.
We have ins and outs, and we were told by a number of separate sources that GW were aware of this and they were going to be basically cancelling orders. And we knew that from Sunday night that they were going to be cancelling orders. And it was interesting because the next day it precipitated a post by Heresy Hammer on Instagram where it was like, Rob thinks that they will, Jon's 50-50 and Lee. And then most people on that post were just like, there's no way that they're going to do anything. They don't care. And lo and behold, Wednesday came around. And on Wednesday, they said, it was the Wednesday because they were going to sell them for the following Wednesday. But later that week, they then were like, basically, and it was a really well put together article where they kind of said there had been some Erebus style trickery where a number of people had tried to buy the book to essentially flip it. And this was
not only that, but also had secured multiple listings.
Yeah. And so they cancelled those orders. And they were going to resell the book.
Yeah, a bit of context is the fact that within our kind of wider network of friends, acquaintances, people that we have met within the Heresy community, normally when this happens, there are some people that are disappointed, but there are also plenty of people that have secured copies of the book. So I kind of stopped with my limited editions at sort of End of the Death, Volume 1. In fact, I actually gave my End of the Death, Volume 2 away.
You did indeed.
I did.
To me.
And I gave, yes, to Rob. Because he missed out on one, and I managed to get one. And by that point, I'd already actually given a couple of previous ones away to people that had the odd hole in like complete collections, and then I sold a couple off, and that was kind of, I just thought, I'm never going to be able to do this. I can't deal with the stress. I can't deal with the aggro. But it always felt like whenever you were going for a limited edition, it was always kind of 50-50. Am I going to get one or not? Whereas I think that with this one, we don't know anyone that got one. We have one person in the US who mentioned us on Instagram was like, I managed to get one.
Yeah, I think Rich Harris, who we mutually know, was able to. Get one, but he was the only UK person. Store. Ah, right, interesting. Okay,
so it seemed as if that the store terminals were able to skip the queue because, again, GW's new website, which by the way has been an unmitigated disaster. Let's not beat around the bush. It is terrible. For starters, you can't buy anything if you wanted to because it's got no stock, and secondly, they make it impossible to actually buy anything regardless. So, good job. Yeah, but so they had introduced a queuing system. The idea being that you get in a queue, you wait, you get a few minutes in order to complete your transaction, you get a book, you go home, everyone's happy. Whereas I think Rich managed to secure one by going to stores because he believed, and he was correct, that the store terminals skipped the queues.
Which was a bit of a revelation, really.
Yeah.
I think, which is if you want to purchase something that, you can go to a store and skip the queue. Although I think that if you were battling against bots, it was always going to be difficult to be able to purchase this book anyway. That's by the by. They put the books up last Wednesday, again, at 4 p.m. to allow people with a fighting chance to be able to get the book. Now, I think that was probably the right decision to make. But as a result, you inevitably go, well, they should have done this, they should have done this, they could have done this. And I think where I'm at with this now, I don't want to get too angry about it. It's super frustrating. And I think that it kind of just... They knew, it's so obvious that this was going to be an issue, but it seems like they've wantonly really not done anything about it. But for me, the easiest way to solve this is do a made to order, not have the author sign it, and then just host more events like Warhammer Fest and other Black Library events where you can go meet your author and get it signed. And that would at least give something to do at Warhammer Fest, where last Warhammer Fest there was sweet FA to do.
Are you saying queue up to meet the author?
Yeah, queue to get into a queue, but it's not like that is perfectly legit as a thing to do at Comic-Con. It would be, you would queue up for hours to go see your favorite author and get your book signed and have a quick chat with him. Like that is just a thing that's done in the literary world. But for some reason, despite the fact that this must be the biggest sci-fi series of all time in history, like they've not gone, okay, well, let's take those things from the literary world and put them into like our own kind of like book company, right? And I think that I what I hope is that they'll go, look, we need to rethink this because we're pissing off fans. They won't invest in limited editions in the future. And if nobody wants to buy them or get them, it will kill the scalper market, and then we're left with loads of books. So I think that they need to be long-termist rather than short-termist and just go, oh, that's cool, we sold them all anyway, so that's fine. I think that, I think they need to think long-term on this.
Yeah. So, in a bit of breaking news, we had a correspondent who was at Warhammer World this morning. Not only that, he was at Warhammer World at 9:30 yesterday evening.
Absolutely nuts.
Camped out in the freezing cold, where the Warhammer World had 15 copies of the book available, and he was number 15. Bear in mind, he got there at 9:30. Now, number 14 in the queue was a pair of young gentlemen who had travelled from elsewhere, not necessarily Warhammer fans, but certainly fans of making sweet, sweet money. And basically had openly posted that on a reselling Discord that some people were kind of keeping close tabs on. They were in the queue and were number 14 of 15 to get these books. So, yeah, with a bit of underhand usurping, they made a Warhammer World staff available and were trying desperately to prevent them from getting a hold of these copies of these limited edition books.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I believe they were unsuccessful. Now, our correspondent on the ground has actually just sent me 2 voice notes. I'm not going to play them out. I might play them I might listen to them in the break and then follow up with you later on. But yeah, it's wild that we've actually got to a position where we can do breaking news. We're basically like InfoWars, but for Heresy.
Exactly right. So it was a bit of I'd say that it was a bit of a disaster. Is essentially kind of what
I feel like, Rob, it was a double disaster because I think that it was a disaster and then they tried to fix it and they made it a disaster all over again.
Yeah.
And I actually feel like, truth be told, if they had put their hands up in the first, I like the fact that they tried, but I had absolutely zero faith that they would do a good job, and I was correct. So it'd be nice to know your experiences, what your thoughts are about this whole complete sort of debacle. Post your comments in the comment section, but it kind of strikes me as bizarre when we talk about the made to order thing because they had such a good success and such a good PR move when they launched the Indomitus box set for 40k, which sold out like instantly. And then they said a week later, we're so sorry you're disappointed. We're going to do a made to order run. And it might take a while, but give us some money and you'll get one. And people gave them money and they got one. And they sold far more than they would otherwise. But you know, people will never learn.
Including
anyway,
GW.
Speaking of books, they trolled us the next day. Fucking the ballsiest of ballsy moves by teasing another book.
Another hardback book, in fact. Yeah.
So we're returning, Rob, to Beta Garment.
Yeah, so this is like a companion piece to the Legions Imperialis Beta Garment book, the Crucible.
Yeah, this is fucking cool. And we also know there's also been an Adeptus Titanicus Beta Garment campaign book as well, correct?
I think so. I think that's correct. Yeah,
I'm sure they have. So now there are 3. You can play 3 different game systems in the same campaign. And speaking of campaigns, that seems to be what's forming a major part of the content rules-wise of this book, right?
Yeah, so this was a huge book. I think that they were quite clear this time that we will get rules for X, Y, and Z. And I didn't think in this article there was as much ambiguity as we had seen with the previous campaign, but I want to say campaign, but it wasn't a campaign book.
No, we don't
the
talk
Legacies
about
one.
The trash.
that there was no ambiguity about exactly what we were getting. We will obviously look back at that article when the new book drops and see what we think of it.
And on that subject, if anyone from the Warhammer marketing team is watching, can you please just send us 3 copies? Like, it's not hard. We don't want anything else. We don't want models. We don't want all this other nonsense.
We will review it for you. We will tell you, people.
Like,
how good
our
it is.
review of the Siege of Cathonia was one of our biggest watched episodes.
Yeah.
And not only that, we had people messages saying we bought the book specifically. I wasn't going to bother, but I bought it specifically off the back of what you said about it. So come on, guys.
Just give us the book, man.
3 books, 1 each. Mate, not even Lee, but Lee can barely read. Just give Rob and me one. We'll fill Lee in with the gist. We'll just cut out the pictures.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Crayons in his book, right? Send a pack of crayons for Lee as well. So
just 2 books.
So this was. Although getting back to it, this was huge, and we're going to get rules for a number of characters who we know and love as well, right?
Little Horus,
big
Shadrach Medusan,
big baller move.
Oh, mate, I'm so buzzing. So we've never had rules for these guys, never had models for these guys.
I think we had rules for Shadrach.
But we did. Oh, yeah, we did.
But not Horus Axeman. This is a big deal.
But also, like, these are big characters. And Beta Gorman was a big conflict. And I think the tie-in with Legiones Imperialis is a smart move and might be the thing that gets me into some 8 mil action.
Yeah. So what was interesting in this article as well? Do we have anything else on the next one? Did he put any details up, or is this?
I don't know, Rob. I'm honestly, I'm nothing's going on here. I think because I clicked off of it. No, it's just Dark Angels nonsense.
Okay, cool. So what was interesting about this as well was that the main protagonists were going to be Sons of Horus and Blood Angels, and it's interesting that we've also got Blood Angels and an upgrade pack as well, kind of teased, which kind of suggests that they're kind of going to be dropped within all time frame. I suppose the final thing to say about this book is, or the 2 final things, is that we're going to get some Solar Orcs rules within it, at least for that little walker that we kind of showed earlier. But my second thing is, when do you think it'll be dropped? If you're going to put money on what month, what do you think?
March I think time. End of Feb, beginning of March time. I think that makes perfect sense. I also think as well, I think for me, the big thing is the fact that we've got a complete reworking of the campaign system.
Yeah. Okay. That would be really interesting.
Yeah. So the idea being that, and they've said specifically, you can play out a campaign event in 6 games over a weekend. So what they're basically saying is, if you want to put on a local event, like if you've got a small gamer group, you can put a weekend event and basically put no efforts, by the way, but I want to say minimum efforts for maximum return. You've got a fleshed out campaign system in this. And I guarantee that when this drops, we will find a weekend and we will play this.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is going to be a huge book, I think, and it looks like an absolute chunker, doesn't it?
Oh, it's a whopper.
Yeah, it looks huge. So I look forward to receiving our copy from Games Workshop.
Yeah, I will be hounding them day and night.
Cool. What's next? Is that it? Is that
That's it. So I think we're going to have a little break.
Yeah.
I'm going to listen to our boots on the ground correspondent from the home of Warhammer World, and we'll report back in a short while and talk about Dark Angels. Maybe with Lee, maybe not. Who knows?
Lovely jubbly.
Goodbye. Oh, try that again.
Just a technical issue there. Right, welcome back, everybody. So we have been joined by Lee. Lee was just recounting off air some of his cat-related stories that we could not possibly. We cannot include any of those in because I think we're on the list for.
I'm gonna do a Patreon special.
Yeah,
I'd say the RSPCA would be knocking on my door, but they don't come to fuck all, so we don't have to worry about them.
So speaking of creatures and the creatures of Caliban, that segues nicely into talking about the Dark Angels. So we have done a kind of a first part of this show where we've talked all about the rights of war, the warlord traits, and the hecanisticas of the Dark Angels, which is essentially the 6 different wing rules that you can give your units. As you saw from our perplexed and puzzled faces, they are somewhat complex and quite overlapping once you start introducing warlord traits and you start introducing rights of war into those. Well, we're going to make it even more complicated today because you're going to have to kind of put all the information together from the last show and this show. And I think that one of the things, as I was researching this morning, is not only the Dark Angels quite a complex legion, but they're powerful because of the overlapping rules. So if you are playing against somebody who really understands their Dark Angels list and played it 20 times or whatever, I think you're going to always struggle against them because of the amount of rules and quite powerful combos that they are able to create. What we're going to do is we're going to start off with the Wargear. We're going to blitz through this because actually they don't have too much Wargear, and then we're going to go to the special units, of which there are many. So if we go to the first page, thank you very much. So as Lee mentioned in the last episode, the Dark Angels were always, they were, of course, the first legion. They had access to the weapons of Old Knight. And because of that, they've got some pretty funky weaponry associated.
Some might say overpowered.
Yes, some may say. So one of their piece of wargear is the Calibanite Warblade, which is basically a power sword, but it's just that +1 strength. It's rending 6 up, and it's melee as well, which is all fine and dandy, apart from you can't give it to anybody apart from characters. So I think that, you might look at that and go, oh, this is great for a vet squad, Calibanite Warblades, they've got rending 6 up. But actually, because it can only be given to characters, I think that it's got some limited utility. Anybody want to add anything onto that before we move on to the plasma weapons?
No, because the plasma weapons are a particular bane of my life.
Yeah, so these plasma weapons are not only these aren't the only ones we're going to have a look at. We're going to also have a look at Plasma Incinerator when we come to the Legion Interemptor squad. But these are particularly strong. So what happened in the last edition, it was a little bit confusing because the wording on twin linked meant that you basically couldn't, if it was a twin linked plasma weapon, you couldn't upgrade it. And people were kind of a bit unsure what happened there. They've really tightened up on the ruling on this one. So basically, if you have a plasma gun or a twin link plasma gun, you can exchange it for a plasma repeater for 5 points and a plasma burner for 10 points. Now, where this I think comes in handy is not just your plasma support squads, for example, your vet squads that can take a plasma weapon, or I guess your even your destroyers that can take 1 in 5 plasma weapons. But if you think about bikes and things like that, where you can kind of take mass plasma, this is certainly something where it kind of comes in really, really handy. So a plasma repeater is 12-inch range. It's strength 6. It's AP 4. It is assault 3. So if you're thinking a vet squad is, actually now it can shoot 3 times and you can still assault from it. That is
it's crazy.
Nice. Yep. It's get hot though, but it's twin linked, but it's also breaching 4 up. So you've got a lot of shots there, and the fact that it's assault, I think, makes it particularly powerful. The plasma burner though is a template weapon. It is strength 6, AP 4, assault 1, and breaching 4 up. Now, I just want to repeat, it is a template weapon, a flamer template weapon, and it is breaching 4 up as well. If you face these in the Zone Mortalis, you are fucked. Your unit is basically going to be wiped out. I think one thing I would say about and I think we should probably talk about this when we get to the Interemptors, because they come with this weapon as standard. One thing I would say is that just be careful about maxing out to a squad of 10 if you've got plasma burners, because it's a great weapon, but it's always going to be difficult to position yourself that every single guy is going to be able to get those hits, especially if you fighting close quarters within the Zone Mortalis is a good example. But breaching 4 up on a template weapon is fucking savage. Like that, I actually think it's way too powerful, but I think if you speak to Dark Angels players, they'll be like, no, it's just right. Goldilocks, just right. Anybody want to discuss the plasma weapons, or anybody want to add anything to that?
They are, I went to a 4-game Zone Mortalis event, and I was on the receiving end of plasma burners 3 times. And let me tell you, they are fucking horrendous. Oh man, they are just the bane of my life. They're great. I wish they weren't quite so great.
Yeah, I think if you're Alpha Legion player looking at rewards of treatment and you want to use something different other than
not Siege Tyrants,
or Fulmintaris that just got nerfed to fuck, then plasma burners might be a good option. So moving swiftly on to one of I think the best weapons in the game for me is a Tyrannic Greatsword. So
yes.
So any model with the independent character and Legion of Sarsi special rule may take a Tyrannic Greatsword at no additional cost. What? Any model with both the independent exchange power fist, sorry, for a Tyrannic Greatsword. So basically, on your Terminators, it's going to be cheaper to do it. On your normal guys, power fists are obviously very expensive, like 20, 25 points, I think, something around that mark. So Terminators are going to be able to take them more cheaply than your, Centurion in Artificer armor with a power fist. But please remember that it says quite clearly independent characters. So if you're kind of thinking, well, I can give Terminators all power fists and just upgrade them to Tyrannic Greatswords, you can't do that. But there is a unit that you're going to definitely want to take instead of that option. So a Tyrannic Greatsword is +2 strength, so that takes them up to most often a strength of 6. And if you watched John's Patreon video all about Moritats that he prepared for us, that is a great combination with rad grenades because it's going to make all your hits instant death. They're AP3, they are melee 2-handed, rending 5 up, and murderous strike 5 up. These are absolutely brutal. So for me, the reason why these are so good is because of that rending. So if you think you throw a squad armed with Tyrannic Greatswords into a Contemptor, the rending just allows it to wound on a 5 up. So it doesn't, rendings just always work on, no matter the toughness. They're essentially an auto wound. So that means all your auto wound rendings on a Contemptor are now murderous strike. So that will be D3 wounds instead of just the typical 1 wound as well. And it's that combination for me. The fact that it's not breaching and murderous strike, it's the rending murderous strike, makes it's just so powerful. And if you think about multi-wound characters, it's the same if you think about going against units like Lee's Gal Vorback, for example, rending 5 up and then murder strike 5 up. That's going to be pretty savage.
It's also a sword, which when we come to as well, and we talk about the kind of the wing rules, and how that synergizes together, because essentially you will become like ostensibly weapon skill 6 if you're a weapon skill 5 guy, weapon skill 7 if you're a weapon skill 6 guy.
Yeah, exactly. But we'll talk about more about those when we get to the Knights of Nobium.
Yes.
I just like the thematic feel to this, to be honest. You can make an independent character just chasing down Contemptors like he's some sort of old Calibanite fucking monster hunter, just fucking the big guys.
Leviathans as well, not just Contemptors.
Yeah, go for the real big boys. Fuck it.
So and actually that's a good point. High toughness models, these would fucking murder Myrmidons. Like, these will just fucking brutalize them. Because they're AP3 rending murder strike as well. So if you can get them in combat, they'll fucking murder Mechanicum. So we've also got another cheeky weapon here. So stasis missiles. I'm curious that I came to some thoughts about these when I was playing this. So when I was looking this morning. So I'm interested to see what you guys say. So essentially, if you've got a missile launcher, you can upgrade it for 5 points to be a stasis missile launcher, or to take stasis missiles. They're range 24, strength 4, heavy 1, blast 3 inches, but they're also concussive 1 as well. So got a missile launcher, upgrade it for 5 points, you get stasis missiles. What's your thoughts, guys, on the stasis missiles?
Concussive can be good.
Yeah.
The short range is a problem for me.
That is also the problem for me as well, which is that, with this missile launcher, you get all the other missiles, your strength 8 AP3s or your flat missiles or whatever it might be. And you're going to have them predominantly at the back of the field, aren't you? And then you're just like, okay, well, these are now range 24. So I have to get pretty close to my opponent to be able to kind of...
It's the fact it's heavy. If they'd given it like suspensor webs or something, like, it might have had more use, I think, but 24-inch heavy one's just not going to really do much of anything unless you land.
It's not for me.
No, it's 50 points for a squad of 10. I think be very, very careful upgrading to stasis missiles. If you have experience of these, though, let us know in the comments below. But I think the 2 standouts are the Tyrannic Greatsword and the Plasma Bonus for me for Wargear. Right, let's have a look at what's coming up next. So my absolute favorite of the Legions Consularis, I think this one is fucking awesome for 30 points.
Yeah.
It is fucking amazing. So your for 30 points, a Legion Centurion can become a Paladin of the Hecanistica. And remember, on top of all his other rules, he's also got his wing rules as well. Let's, for argument's sake, just say he's a Deathwing, though, so he's got +1 to hit with a sword. Now, you can give this to your Legion Centurion, your Tartarus Centurion, or a Cataphractii Centurion. I think my gut would be to go for the Cataphractii in this scenario, but I think there's some, and I'll tell you why in a moment, why I think it's good for the Legion Centurion in a second. But the special rules he comes with, because he comes with a fuck ton of special rules. So he gets given one of the orders, the Hecanistica. So we'll talk about those and what those will be, but essentially there's 6 different special rules that you can choose from. So not only would you say have your Deathwing special rule, you can also on top of that have other additional rules as well, like re-rolling ones or whatever for particular rules. He has, and that comes at no additional cost. He has
Rob. He must increase his weapon skill to 6. He must.
He must do that. He must do that.
He must. No ifs or buts. He must do it. Do it immediately.
Leadership 10 as well. So most Centurions, or in fact, all Centurions, apart from a Chaplain, are leadership 9. So he becomes leadership 10. He has stubborn on leadership 10, and adamantium will 3 up as well. Now he gets given for free within that 30 points. So not only does he get all of those rules for 30 points, he also gets given a Tyrannic Greatsword.
No, he must take one.
Sorry, excuse me. He must take one. So you can't have any other options apart from a Tyrannic Greatsword, which I don't think is any bad thing. What I would say about this is that a Power Fist, which is what you would usually replace a Tyrannic Greatsword with on a Legion console, is 20 points.
Yeah.
And on a Cataphractii Centurion, it's something like 10-15 points.
I think it's 15.
Fist. So you can see here that actually it becomes a cost-effective way to do it if you put him on just a normal Legion Centurion with Artificer armor. It's almost kind of like cheating the system. You know, you're getting more bang for your buck. But he has obviously a worse invuln save. I don't know about you guys, but I think this is honestly one of the best Legiones Consularis in the game.
Yep.
Like, it's fucking nuts.
Yep. Just like as a standalone character, he is absolutely wild.
Yeah.
And that's because it's not just like I said, it's not just because of this. It's because of the fact that he gives you access to in terms of his Hecanistica options from the Inner Night Cenobium rules, and then the Hexagrammaton rules from the different wings as well. It's just banana.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lee, you've not said anything. Have you lost the
ability? Yeah, I mean, there's not much more to say, really, is there? Like,
no, but say something. Come on, make it.
There's not many characters. If you throw him into a challenge with pretty much 90% of the characters out there, they're hitting him
at his points level as well.
Yeah. So, like, you want to be throwing him straight into your enemy's warlord, and I mean, to be honest, even a Primarch, he'd hold his own for a turn, I reckon.
Yeah, I reckon.
Like,
yeah. With a 2 up, 4 up, yeah, 100%. Badass.
Like,
yeah. Is he an auto include in every list you're going to write?
So I think it does depend on, you know, whether you've got the Lion in your list. It depends on whether you need or want a Master of Signals. I think, though, it's a really obvious choice if you are taking an allied detachment. This is just, for me, an absolute no-brainer if you want to take an allied detachment of Dark Angels. Cool. Right, let's have a look at what's next. Okay, so...
The Lion. Not the Lion, the Lion.
The man himself. So... comes in at 460 points. I think he's quite good value for actually what you get for 460 points.
100% agree.
And he's an absolute fucking murder machine. He does buff the army and particularly the unit that he comes with.
It really winds me up that this guy's 460 points and Perturabo exists. He's
so
in comparison to the Lion.
Yeah, he's pretty fucking apeshit. But one thing I would say, I think just from the general sense of kind of like reading his rules, is that I always had the Lion almost second to Horus in his kind of like tactical acumen and being kind of like a master strategist. and I'm not necessarily sure that that comes across with the Lions rules. I think that basically they've put him into the bracket of being a total fucking murder machine.
He's in the Lehman Russ category of
exactly, and like he does buff his unit in particular, but it's not the same level of like army buffing as say Alfarius would give. Despite the fact that I always have him as almost like second to Horus in his tactical acumen, or kind of alongside Rebuta Gilliman.
I do think it's a hard one though, isn't it? Because like you say, the Lion was an absolute shit kicker, but was also Napoleon, future Napoleon. So I think the trouble is if they make him good at everything, then it almost just becomes an auto include, doesn't it? Like, exactly. I think that's where the game has to separate from the storyline a little bit. I suppose.
That's fine. Just make him 500 and something points. Or it's 600 points. Like there's no reason why you can't just make him 525, 550 points.
Yeah, true.
Cool. Okay, so John, why don't you take us through his Wargear stats and some of the special rules?
I will. I'll get cracking. You can stop me. So he's in the weapon skill 8 bracket of Primarch, which is groovy. He's also in the strength 7 bracket of Primarch, and he's also initiative 7 as well. So he's got weapon skill 8, bliss skill 6, strength 7, toughness 6, 6 wound, initiative 7, and 7 attacks base. Wild.
That is really wild. Really, I mean, weapon skill 8, strength 7.
7 attacks, strength 7.
Yeah, fucking brilliant.
So he comes with the Leonine Panoply, the Lion Sword, the Fusel Actinaeus, Stasis Grenades, and Frag Grenades. But you can also swap the Lion Sword for the Wolf Blade for no additional points cost if you wanted to.
Yeah. Do you want to just, should we just, I just want to skip over to the Leonine Panoply, just because we can, it's a quick one. So basically, it's a 2-up, 4-up. And then the first failed inbound save made for the Lion each player turn may be re-rolled as well. So that in a 5-turn game, he can I'd be right in saying he can re-roll 10 of those inbound saves. Am I right in saying? Saying that? Yeah.
Every player turn,
which is pretty tasty.
Wild stuff. So he has Master Legion, obviously, Adamantium Will 3-up. Quite rare. The Lion's Cola, the point of the blade, and he is a Warlord Sire of the Dark Angels. He's a loyalist, apparently.
I would have thought.
There we go. So, Sire of the Dark Angels, all models with the Legion Astartes Dark Angel special rule in the same army as the Lion gain the Crusader special rule.
Yep.
Any models with the Legion Astartes Dark Angel special rule can draw a line of sight to Lion. Add +1 to their leadership to a maximum of 10.
Yeah.
You also make a little shooting phase reaction. Pretty good Crusader. Not bad at all.
No, and the other thing I just want to point out, so in order to get round the Legiones Astartes Dark Angels rule, so at the start of the controlling player's turn, he can choose which hexagrammaton unit subtype to gain. So he could say, okay, well, I'm about to go into combat here, so... Or I know at the start of this turn, I'm going to go into combat, so I'm going to choose the Deathwing hexagrammaton, so I can get +1 to hit with my sword. And it says it later on in the rules for the swords that they are swords, obviously, because they're fucking swords. But if also he's about to go into a unit with an independent character, he could take on the Firewing hexagrammaton, which might be, I think it's +1 to wound, isn't it? Which might be particularly useful when fighting against another Primarch, right? So he can pick and choose on the start of the controlling player's turn which hexagrammaton rule he wants to use.
It's mental. So Rob was talking about the way he buffs the units he's attached to, and that is summed up in the point of the blade. So after declaring a charge for Lionel Johnson, any unit he's joined, the controlling player may choose not to make a charge roll. Instead, they may make it an 8-inch charge move. So basically, you can say, I'm not going to bother rolling this. I'm 7.5 inches away. I'll just make an 8-inch charge. Bish, bash, bosh. Here I am in combat. See you later. Ignoring all effects of dangerous and difficult terrain as well.
Yeah, the fact that it ignores dangerous and difficult terrain is fucking apeshit.
Charge through a grab field, out the other side. Here we are, boys.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good.
I'm not sure how that interacts with the fact that he's got movement 8, and then would that be a +1 for movement? So he's effectively, if he's on his own, effectively 9, or whether
because it says
just
a charge move 8 inches.
Yeah.
I think that's rules as written. I think that's it's 8 inches.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah.
But that's fucking great. Because how often are you like, I just need this 4-inch charge?
Too many times. Too many
2.5.
times.
Yeah. I've made the 6-inch charge 3.
Yeah, it's so good.
Just taking out that is fucking brilliant, isn't it?
Yep.
Just that chance, that bullshit chance that you're just not going to make a simple, easy charge and your expensive, unit is just sat in the open getting shot in the face by fucking 10 last cannons because you managed to roll double ones. It's so fucking good.
Yeah.
Bloody irritating.
Where I think that this really comes into its own is, let's say, with orbital assault, and you have him in a Charybdis with Deathwing companions, or because you go, I'm going to place this thing here. I'm exactly where, and I know I've got like a 3-inch movement out, and then I've got an 8-inch move. You just guarantee to get in first turn. Yeah, and I think that guarantee, just knowing you're so safe and secure in that scenario, is just so good. Which is why I think that orbital assault with Dark Angels is fucking savage. Like, it's such a good combination. I think orbital assault with Dark Angels.
I cannot agree more. I genuinely cannot agree more. It's banana. So the Lion's Cola is when he's reduced to 4 wounds or less, he gains an additional attack. So it's worth bearing in mind that both of his weapons are two-handed, so he's not going to be gaining an additional attack.
So this was updated in the FAQ, and I've put the updated bit to the side, which basically says exactly the same.
Exactly the same, yeah. I can't understand how anyone misconstrued that, to be honest with you. But there are some people of suboptimal intelligence out there, so there you go. So if he's got 4 or fewer wounds, so 4 or 3 wounds, he gets 8 attacks. And if he's got 2 or 1 wounds remaining, he gets 9 attacks.
It's not to love.
Yeah, what's not to love? Exactly. Oh, you're going to hit me, are you? Oh, I'm getting slightly worse, but actually I'm getting better.
I see what people were doing on that Lion's Collar rule. They were so when he got to 2 wounds or less, they were claiming 3 attacks. Because they had
I see.
The one from the 4 wounds.
Fucking hell. I hate people. If you were the person who was doing that, unsubscribe and go away. And if you weren't the person that was doing that,
don't unsubscribe, just go away.
Then subscribe and join the Patreon. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what they were doing. But like, fucking have a word with yourself if you were doing that.
Pathetic behaviour. The Leonine Panoply, as Rob says, a 2-up, 4-up, which is absolutely fine, and he can re-roll a thing. It's got a gun, which is pretty tasty.
Yep.
It's a 18-inch range, strength 7 AP3, it's sort 2, twin linked, blind. So you can blind people right before you fucking cruise in and hack them apart.
Yep.
Just to really put the boot in. Oh, look at skill.
And it's rending 3 up as well.
It's rending 3 up.
3 up. Oh, that's actually, because a lot of these pistols tend to be a bit shit, don't they? Or like mediocre at best. That's actually really fucking good.
Well, a lot of them are, just like, 4 shots hitting onto strength 5 AP3 or AP2. It's got ridiculous.
Yeah.
Oh, nothing this guy can't do.
It's funny as well because they've said, if it's because it counts as a bolter for the Stormwing. So he's ballistic skill 6, his weapon is twin linked, and then he gets +1 to hit as well. I'm not even sure how those rules would work. And it hurts my brain working out exactly like what that would mean, because you got twin links, so you can't re-roll that re-roll presumably. So I don't think it makes a lot of difference in reality.
No. At what point is he going to miss? At what point do you even bother rolling the dice? Just go, hit twice.
These are going to hit, yeah.
Let's save some time in both of our lives. He's going to hit twice. Okay, the Lion sword, it's French. It's strength as user, so strength 7, AP1. Again, AP1, obviously.
Yeah.
It's got Armor Bane, again, for fucking hacking apart Land Raiders. Flesh Bane as well, because he is Bane. It's mastercrafted, and it's instant death, and it's 2 hands.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking good.
Yeah. And obviously, if you need to be strength 9, then you can by just taking the Wolf Blade, which is +2 strength, AP3. Pathetic. 2-handed, it's got Shred, and it's breaching 4-up, and it's got Reaping Blow 2, and it's got mastercrafted, and it's got Fearsome Ruin.
What does Fearsome Ruin do?
Fearsome Ruin is the controlling play of any unit which suffers one or more casualties from this weapon and makes a morale check during the assault phase. Must roll an additional d6 for that check and keep the 2 highest dice.
Oh, yes.
It's like cold-blooded, except it's hot-blooded.
Mhm.
So you roll 3 dice, pick the 2 highest, and that's your morale test if you suffer a wound, which you're going to do because he's going to fucking murder you.
I think.
And then he's going to run you down.
Yeah, if you survive, then you're definitely going to run away.
He's going to fucking run you down if you're not already chopped in half.
But like, even if you're stubborn, like even if you're stubborn 9 or stubborn 10, like there's still a chance you're out there.
2 fucking shits. Yeah, I think
because we all know when I was saying I rolled 2s or 3s for my charges, for my morale checks, I'm hitting
sixes across the board. Yeah,
yeah.
It was interesting because in the previous iteration of him, I think you just always would take the Wolfblade, but now I think they've made it actually quite difficult to know which blade to take because there are certain stances where the Wolfblade would be really good, but just having that native AP1 on the Lion Sword is also
instant death.
Yeah, it's just going to be really useful as well. So I think I don't know. I'd have to play him to go, this one is better, but on paper, they're just like both are pretty bloody amazing.
Yeah. Once per battle, stasis grenades. Once per battle, Lionel Johnson's controlling player may choose to use stasis grenades when a charge is declared, which you're going to guarantee to get in. If the charge which the stasis grenades are used is successful, which you will be because you can just automatically make it successful, the target enemy unit or units must take an initiative test using the majority initiative value of the units. If the initiative test is passed, then there is no further effect. If any of the target units fails the test, then all the enemy models in that unit must reduce their initiative by 1 the duration of any assault phase in which the charge is made.
Oh, interesting.
So that's also good. Just really good. The other thing
X always fails, by the way, it's worth bearing in mind.
Yeah.
What is quite interesting about this guy as well is that he actually makes a unit. So let's say he's with a Knight Zenobium unit. He makes that unit pretty quick because
he does because they're charging.
Because you're guaranteed to be able to charge, and then on the consolidation move, you're going to move the highest initiative. You're not slow, which is going to be initiative 7, and then you almost just like, okay, I can move initiative 7, and then 6. You know, if I'm with a Knights and Obian squad, then 8 and then 7. You know, he's going to be able to move around the board pretty quickly. I mean, I know that's the same for lots of Primarchs, but it's the guarantee on that 8 that makes him so nippy around the board.
Absolutely.
That I think that if you're going against him and you don't have a Primarch, you're going to really struggle because I think he's just going to touch units and just delete them. And then you're going to struggle because of the speed at which you can do that.
Yeah. And to be honest, most Primarchs, normally Primarchs just hit each other and then they just slap each other for the whole game.
Yeah.
Whereas with Lion, I think you actually are almost, with some of the Primarchs, going to be using them as a fucking speed bump.
Yeah.
Because he's just going to fuck them up.
Yeah.
It's mad.
He's an absolute murder machine, isn't he?
He's a good boy. The goodest of boys, in fact. Speaking of good boys.
Yeah. So, Lee, do you want to take us? Well, Lee, do you want to take us through? There's lots to go through on this one, I think.
Yeah. So, Inner Circle, Knight Cenobium, 275 points. What we got? You got Cenobite or a Preceptor, so weapon skill 5 or weapon skill 6, and then
the Sergeant being native weapon skill 6 again. Let's talk about how insane that is.
Which can be boosted. Can it be boosted?
Where is it to hits? His hits
it's a to hits roll.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But yeah, like you say, weapon skill 6. That's fucking nuts. Like these guys would chew through Iron Warriors like all day, every day. Like, armies that have no like close combat are just fucking wrecked. 2 wounds each, initiative 4. Cenobite has 2 attacks each, and the Preceptor has 3 attacks and leadership 9, 2+ save. So squad of 5, Tyrannic Greatswords, Plasma Caster, Cataphracti, Terminator armor. So they're obviously they're infantry character heavy. They are relentless, bulky 2, stubborn.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm sorry, just to interrupt to that point. So this is so important. Because they are one of 2 units that I know of that are kind of
all characters.
Legion elite units that are all characters. So what that means is that you can spread wounds around a unit of Zenobium and keep them alive because they're all characters.
That bullshit, exactly. So the other one being suzerains, correct?
Yes, suzerain. So this is why these guys are so fucking lethal. So not only, and we'll talk about it in a minute when Lee gets to it, the Tyrannic Greatsword, but they're so fucking lethal because they're characters. They've got, they've got swords, right? They're fucking nuts.
Essentially, you've got to do 6 wounds before you're killing one.
Yeah.
Unless you're causing instant death, obviously.
Yeah. Sorry, Lee. Sorry.
No. So they're stubborn, adamantium will, 3+, and they have the special rule Order Exemplars. They can take a Land Raider or a Spartan, and then they got some other options. So fucking hell, 50 points each, but worth it. So you can
totally
take
worth it.
5 more, 50 points each. They can take a Vexilla. Any model can switch their Tyrannic Greatsword for a Thunderhammer, and the Sergeant can take a Grenade Harness.
Yeah, so I think, so just to say, so 50 points. So if you think about, compare that to a Centurion in Terminator armor, who basically has exactly the same stats, like leadership 9, 2 up, 4 up, sorry, in Cataphractii armor, and his weapon skill 5. And then a normal Centurion, so I think they're, 60, 70 points for a Cataphractii
Yeah, they
Centurion?
get 3 attacks, though, as standard Centurion, don't they?
But you would have to buy a Power Fist on top of that in order to get a Greatsword. And then these guys are just 50 points. And their characters as well. So they're
stubborn.
And they're stubborn. And they're an absolute bargain for what they are and what they do. Like, these are just so cost effective for what they are.
They have another whole page of extra bullshit.
Yeah. So Order Exemplars. So when an inner circle Knight Cenobium is selected as part of a detachment, during army selection, a single option from the orders of the Hecatonistica presented below must be selected for the unit. All models in that inner circle Knight Cenobium gain the chosen option for no additional points cost. So you have to choose it. You can't just, like, I'm guessing, So
you have to choose it before you play the game. You can't just roll up and be like, "Oh, I'm playing."
Yeah.
You've got that. I'm going to take this. And then, what are the orders of the Hecatonistica? So, Augurs of Weakness. When making an armor penetration roll against a target of armor 11 or more on the facing targeted, a model with this special rule may add +1 to the strength of the weapon used to make the attack. Okay. Icons of Resolve. This model gains +1 leadership to a maximum of 10 on any turn in which it or a unit is part of is charged by 1 or more enemy units.
Can we just talk about, so just want to talk about each of those. So Augurs of Weakness. I think there's probably limited I don't think that you're taking your Knights of Nobium with orders with Augurs of Weakness.
You don't want weapon skill 6 hunting fucking rhinos, do you?
No. And then Icons of Resolve. So there's a couple of things. So I think that this is quite good if it's a singular unit with no characters attached to it. Because if you think about our Paladin, he's leadership 10 and stubborn. So you wouldn't need the Icons of Resolve because you've already got the leadership 10 and the stubborn from there. If you've got the Lion in your army and the Lion can see him, they're leadership 10. So I think that it could be quite good and could save you potentially in a game or two from getting swept. But I think it's not these. I suppose the point I'm making is they're not the best to be taking. Is what I would say.
Slayers of Kings. This model may re-roll failed to hit rolls of 1 when engaged in combat with any model with a weapon skill of 5 or higher, or in a challenge of any model with a weapon skill of 5 or higher.
Yeah.
So
this for me is the one I think is particularly good because your Knights of Nobium are going to hunt other elite units. And because they have a low number of attacks, they've only got 2 attacks base and 3 on the charge, and they're Tyrannic Greatswords are 2-handed weapons, so you're not getting additional attack for close combat weapons. You need as many hits to get through as possible in order to make the most of the rending and the murderous strike, I think, is what I would say. So I think that the 9 times out of 10, when I've seen people play these, they take Slayer of Kings because they want as many attacks to get through as possible.
this unit's generally going to be fighting against weapon skill 5 or higher, isn't it? Like, there's no point taking this and putting them into attack squad. Like, they're going after your opponent's shit kickers. Hunters of Beasts. This model may re-roll failed to wound rolls of 1 when an enemy unit it is engaged in combat with includes 1 or more models of a toughness of 5, or any failed to wound rolls if the target's toughness is 6 or higher. That's not terrible, but
no, not bad. Like
I think
yeah, not bad.
Limited where you're going to be using that.
If you've got a mate who plays word bearers, or Mechanicum, you're just going to be like, yeah, okay, I'll take Hunter of Beasts and go after your Galvor back and reroll ones to wound, right?
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah. Reapers of Hosts. This model gains +1 attack in any fight subphase which they begin in base contact with more than 1 enemy model.
Very good.
So this is one I like.
Yeah.
Because, like you say, the trouble with Terminators is once they've charged, if what you've charged is still alive turn 2, suddenly your damage output is pretty fucking terrible.
Absolutely. So
to be able to add an attack to that is fucking brilliant. But then, yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it's good.
Breakers of Witches. This model may reroll all to hit and to wound rolls in close combat when attacking an enemy unit that includes 1 or more models with the demon unit type or the psyker or corrupted subtype. Again, that's good. It depends what you're playing against, really, doesn't it? If all your mates are running demons and word bearers, then yeah, that's probably worth it. But
yeah, well, I mean, to reroll all failed to hit and to wound rolls in close combat. I mean, that's just a no-brainer, isn't it? If you're going against Thousand Suns, word bearers, demons, and it's just like, well, I'm just obviously just going to take that one. That's
if you're going to an event where you don't know what you're going to be playing, what are you taking?
You're not taking Breakers of Witches, are you?
No,
I wouldn't even think about it because
you're taking either Slayer of Kings or Reapers of Hosts, correct?
Probably more likely Reapers of Hosts, I think.
Yeah.
They also don't forget they also get a fucking plasma weapon as well. Because Dark Angels.
It's no plasma burner, but it's still pretty fucking good.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So the plasma caster template, strength 4, AP 4, assault 1, breaching 6+. Yeah, that's fine, isn't it?
Very reasonable weapon.
Horrific.
But I think that my thing about these guys are basically they're just a unit of Centurions, but they are better costed than a unit of Centurions as well.
It's mental, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's absolutely chicken oriental. This is just name a better unit, like just standard unit in the game, but in close combat.
Yeah, I'd find it hard, I think.
Don't think they exist.
Hard. And I think
I think they are king shits or fuck mountain when it comes to fighting against your elites.
Yeah. And then the other thing to say, I just want to say, so the other thing that I don't think we mentioned necessarily is that because they've all got swords, you might upgrade one guy to have a thunder hammer, your order preceptor or whatever. But because they've all got swords, you're gonna obviously take the Deathwing, and that means that you're gonna get +1 to hit. So you're going to be basically hitting on 2s most of the time, except for in extreme circumstances. This is just, and then it's again that whole thing. This is a great unit to exemplify overlapping rules. Deathwing rule plus your order exemplar, and then those combined makes a really difficult unit to crack.
I think just one thing I will say quickly is the Slayers of Kings, Hunters of Beasts, Reapers of Hosts. The one thing I really like about them is these aren't just like a lot of these rules are like the turn you charge, in the first turn of combat. Whereas this is just, I mean, you're probably not going to be in combat for long with people, but if you are, the worst thing for Terminators is just getting into drawn out combat because you've just got a fucking expensive unit that should be running around the board chopping heads off that are now stuck just dealing with something because they're stuck for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And your big initial impact is gone after the first turn, whereas this isn't a thing. Like they get these every turn in combat, which is fucking brilliant, I think.
So just a final reminder to people, because I think this is an often overlooked rule. So you've got the Order Preceptor with the grenade harness there. So I would recommend actually taking the grenade harness. So it doesn't matter so much if you're coming out of a Land Raider or Spartan because they have frag launchers. But if you go through difficult terrain without grenades, which Terminates don't have, you will be going at initiative 1. So for 5 points for a grenade harness to allow you to go at initiative, it's an absolute no-brainer. So don't skimp on the points. Make sure you get and take, because the actual model comes with a grenade harness, like within his wings on the top of him. So make sure you take him.
Yeah, 100%.
Cool.
Bloody hell! Right. Speaking of, I mean, it doesn't really get less spicy, does it?
No, I'll do this one, and I'll go through this one super quickly and just tell you my thoughts on these. So we talked last time about the Interemptors being taken as troops within the Dreadwing Rite of War. They obviously have to come with the Dreadwing. I want to say Hecagonistica, but that's not right.
Hexagrammaton.
So they're -1 strength for Volkite weapons, etc., etc. We did that in the last episode. So they're slightly hardier than most other units. Like other destroyers, they have counterattack, but these guys do come with stubborn, and their Praefectus is leadership 9. So they're going to be sticking around for quite a while. And on top of that, they come with 2 attacks base, and then the sergeant comes with 3, which is not too shabby. And they come with a bolt pistol and a basic close combat weapon. So
they get 3 attacks.
So they get an additional attack on top of that, and then 4. A basic guy would have 4 attacks on the charge, which is actually is pretty good.
Yeah, and rad grenades. So
absolutely. Yeah, so these are really, really great. However, I think the thing is that you wouldn't necessarily automatically take these guys in close combat, because the things you want to be doing is really melting things into slag. So each one comes with a plasma burner. We talked about how good those were. So they're obviously assault 1, breaching 4 up, and template weapon, and they're strength 6. So they're most of the time they're going to be wounding on 2s as well, and then they're breaching 4 up. But 1 in every 5 guys can become a plasma incinerator for, I think it's 15 points. Yeah, 15 points, which is almost exactly the same stats, apart from it's torrent 9 inches. So if you got something a little bit further away, then you can always torrent it. I do wonder whether, I think it's a cool looking weapon, but I do wonder kind of, if you're having to use the torrent, it means you're pretty bloody far away, and you're probably going to be closer.
You're not getting everything else. So,
no. So I think that it looks cool, and you might be like, whoa, torrent 9 is really good. But actually, I'd be questioning on the battlefield, why is not everybody just getting as close as they can just to flame things, and then your torrent just becomes redundant, really. And torrent now is written that you can't move it back on itself. So you got to, so I think that's something to bear in mind. The one thing I would also say is that you can take Artificer Armor on the Praefectus, which is tres good, and they obviously have you can buy an augury scanner, but I don't know how useful that would be. I think if some maniac is deep striking right next to you for you to use your plasma burners, I just think that is not a clever idea. But the biggest thing, I think, and the best thing about this unit is the fact they come with, or they can get access to a Land Raider Proteus carrier, not the assault version, just the normal one, and you can, I think, buy scout for that with an explorator array, and I think that would be my temptation. Yep. That would be my temptation.
Yep. And you take fucking Phosphex bombs as well.
Yeah, so
the Praefectus.
Yeah, so I would, if you're looking into these, you either keep them cheap by just giving them little Legion Rhino transports, 5 in a Legion Rhino transport, because 5 will be able to do a lot of damage. But actually, if you really want to get in your enemy's faces, 2 squads of these, 2 squads of 8 in a scouting explorator Proteus carrier, you'll be able to fuck with Legion reserves, and then you get really close to your enemy quite soon and quite quick off the mark. This would be the way to go, I think. So have a look into the explorator Land Raider version to be able to give it scout with these guys would be my suggestion. You can scout that 12 inches. The tank can scout 12 inches, I think.
So good. So good.
Yep. Let's have a look at the next one.
The companions.
Yeah, do you want to take us through this, because there's quite a lot of rules?
There's loads of rules. Not only that, much like the Inner Night Circle Snowden, there's a lot of paint on these fuckers.
Mate, well.
Yeah. Never again. Okay, right. Deathwing Companions, weapon skill 5, BS4, strength 4, toughness 4, 2 wounds each, initiative 4, 2 attacks each, leadership 8. So they're basically veterans.
Yep.
Okay, so you get an Oath Bearer who gets an additional attack. So 150 points gets you 5 dudes. They come as standard with a Calibanite Warblade. Lovely stuff. A bolt, a bolt pistol, artificer armor. Lovely stuff. Crack grenades and a refractor field for the Oath Bearers. The Oath Bearer's got a 5 vulnerable save. Really, really cool.
They so the Oath Bearer is basically a Centurion, right? I mean, he's got the same stats.
He is Centurion rules. Yeah, exactly. Apart from he's only initiative 4, not initiative 5.
Yeah, okay.
Deathwing Companions obviously come with Deathwing Hexagrammaton built in because the clue is in the name. And the Oath Bearer is a character. So again, we've talked about things you can do with characters and sharing wounds around, etc. So the special rules they come with Death Sworn Companions, Chosen Warriors, which is great, Relentless, which is also great, and Deathwing Retinue. So we haven't got the rules here.
No, but I can tell you Deathwing Retinue.
Are they on the next page?
Yeah, but I can tell you the rules for them.
Here we go.
So
right.
The Deathwing Retinue just basically means you can only take them as a
Deathwing character. Yeah.
But the Deathsworn Companions, I don't think we need to read it, but basically all it means is that if you are being precision shot at or precision hits or whatever, your opponent in the usual way would be able to choose where they go. If you've got a squad of Deathwing Companions in with that Praetor or Delegatus, whatever, you choose where you take them. And it means you can start taking on the Deathwing. So if you're like, oh, I've got a squad of 10 Nemesis, I'm going to take out your Praetor, and your Deathwing Companions just stand there being like, and you can choose to take them on the Deathwing Companion attachment, which I think makes these such a powerful option against, say like Raven Guard armies or whatever, or Alpha Legion armies that might have a tendency to take quite a lot of precision shots.
Mental. Yeah. So, a Deathwing Companion detachment may take up to 5 additional Deathwing Companions at 25 points each. No bad thing.
No, that's good.
You can give them a chain bayonet or a bayonet if you really want to. You can take metal bombs at 25 points.
For the unit.
Ooh, yeah.
That's great. Yeah, that's good.
It is great, but again, like, when are you going to be using them? Maybe think about what you want them to do first off. Yeah. What you might want to consider, though, is exchanging Calibanite Warblades, one of the following: a Power Fist for 5 points. This is any model, by the way. It's not like a 1 in 5. It's anyone can take a Power Fist for 5 points, or obviously a Tyrannic Greatsword for 5 points.
Yeah, I think you could have a squad of 10 of these, take 2 Power Fists and the rest armed with Tyrannic Greatswords, or 5 Power Fists and 5 Tyrannic Greatswords. Gives you stuff at initiative, stuff that is just will fucking murder multiple models. Like, whatever combo you do, there's no wrong or right. Like, this is a good combo.
Absolutely. Any model in the unit may exchange bolts of one of the following: a Magna Combi weapon for 10 points, a Minor Combi weapon for 5, a Plasma Pistol for 10, or a Cytheran Pattern Aegis, which is the shield. We'll come to that in a second because there are rules for that. You can take a Vexilla if you need to for 10 points. And if the model for which the Deathwing Companion detachment has been selected as part of the Deathwing Retinue special rule has a Legion Warhawk jump pack, then the Deathwing Companion... Basically, if your character's got a jump pack, you can give them jump packs 10 points each. Right.
Can I just say, though, I would be tempted to take a Vexilla with this unit because they don't have a Legion standard like a normal normal unit. And I think that the last thing you want is like a 500-point unit running off the board. Like,
for the sake of 5 points.
Just take the Vexilla, I think.
Yeah. Cool. Right. Okay. So the Cytheran Pattern Aegis, which is the shield. These are I don't think you're going to want them on every guy, but you're going to want a few in there, I think, to be honest with you.
Yeah, minimum of 2 you need to take.
Yeah. So the Cytheran Pattern Aegis can be used in one of 2 ways. It can either provide the bearer with a 4+ invulnerable save against shooting attacks and a 5+ invulnerable save against melee attacks, or it can be deployed. So the controlling player may choose to deploy the Aegis at the end of any of their own movement phases. Brackets, the unit must be deployed on the battlefield and not embarked upon any model. Fine. So it's got to be out of transport, and you can say at the end of the movement phase, I'm going to stick my shields down. So as long as 2 models in the unit are equipped with the Aegis, all models in the unit that have an Aegis must deploy them to gain any benefits. So you've got to say, both guys have got to put them down. While deployed, the entire unit gains a 4+ invulnerable save against shooting attacks and a 5+ invulnerable save against melee attacks. And any models engaged with a model from the Deathwing Companions detachment in an assault have their initiative reduced by 1. So you can deploy your shields and you can say, Bosh, they're down, and the entire unit then gains a 4 up invulnerable, 5 up invulnerable, -1 initiative for attacks made against them. While deployed, the models equipped with the Aegis may not make any attacks in any phase or as any part of a reaction. So you're giving up their attacks to basically to buff the rest of the unit. So again, this is definitely economies of scale. So the more people you've got in the unit, the better this becomes essentially. Because a unit of 5 and 2 guys, you're going to remove quite a lot of punch by kind of forfeiting 2 guys. But a unit of 10 with a character, you're not really submitting a huge amount of punch out of that unit, but for a huge boon. So the controlling player may choose to end the deployments at any of the start of their own movement phases. So essentially, at the end of the start of their movement phase, you can be like, right, we're picking our shields up and off we go again. So if the number of Aegis equipped models in the unit drops below 2, the effect immediately ends.
So I think that if you were going to have a squad of 10 with a Delegatus or Praetor, I'd be tempted to upgrade 2 guys with 2 of these shields.
Yep.
2 guys just to be stock with the Calibanite Warblades.
Yep.
And then the rest are the Power Fist, but really Tyrannic Greatswords. And the reason why I would have 2 just guys stock is that I would take my wounds on those guys. Until I'm forced to.
Because you're obviously getting to allocate where the wounds are going, right? So it's not even like the Aegis guys can be precision shot out of the unit.
Exactly that, which is bloody brilliant. So it's really worth the investment.
These are fucking awesome.
But I think that the danger is if you're just like, oh, I'll take 5, and then you have 2 shields in there, you're going to lose. You might as well have no shields than have 5 guys and 2 shields, because you're just losing too many attacks unless you're like with the line. But then I'd question why you're giving everyone invulnerable saves if you've got the line. You just take the saves on the line because you've got 4 up in, but then you can re-roll the first one in the first player turn. So I think that you need to think carefully about how many shields to how many Calibanite Warblades to how your Wargear options. But it could get an expensive unit is the only thing I'd say. But they're good.
Yeah, but nothing in this army is cheap.
Nope.
Speaking of which,
Lee, do you want to take us through? It's a fairly straightforward character, this one, but do you want to take us through the mighty Hound of Caliban?
Corswain, 200 points. He is the champion of the Dark Angels Legion. Movement 7, weapon skill 7, ballistic skill 5, strength 4, toughness 4, wounds 4, initiative 5, attacks 4, leadership 10, 2+ save. He is unique character and has the Deathwing special rule. He's armed with bolt pistol, bolter, the blade, armor of the forest, and the mantle of the champion, and frag and crack grenades. He's got Master Legion, independent character, relentless, precision strikes 4+, loyalist, and he has the warlord trait, Marshal of the Crown, Deathwing, which, if chosen as the army's warlord, Corswain automatically has the Marshal. So the blade, strength +2, AP 1, melee, 2-handed, mastercrafted, duelist edge 2, murderous strike 4+. The blade gains the +1 hit bonus provided by the Deathwing unit. Subtitle.
This is a nuts weapon.
This duelist edge 2 is fucking bananas.
Down, Rob. I can't hear you.
This is a nuts weapon, is what I
It's
say.
fucking insane, isn't it?
And the fact that it's precision strikes 4 up and murder strike 4 up as well is just is pretty. Because you're like, okay, well these ones were precision, and that guy and that guy.
It's not precision, is it?
Why is it precision? He's got in his.
He's got precision strikes 4+ in his rule.
Oh, he has. You're right. Fucking hell.
And Judas, and the fact he goes initiative 7.
Initiative 7. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's fun.
And it's mastercrafted as well.
Weapon skill 7. Yeah. So, when I said before of their special console that could kind of probably go around with a Primarch, like this guy's fucking schooling some of the Primarchs.
Yeah, definitely.
So Armor of the Forest and Mantle of the Champion grants Corswain a 2+ armor save and a 4+ invulnerable save, improved to 3+ against close combat attacks. So 2+, 3+ in close combat.
This is a good example of where there are very few rules, but the rules that he's got are fucking amazing. That they don't need to add like loads of rules to him.
I mean, I would like to say he is what he should be, isn't he?
Yeah.
Like Corswain is an absolute shit kicker. Like, he's a fucking legend. Is it Corswain who, when the lion fights Russ, he kind of tries to trip Russ over and gets backhanded?
I think it might be one of the other two, like Faris.
Okay.
I think it's one of the other two.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what else to say. Like, take this guy and he'll fucking murder people.
Yeah.
Like,
he's a non-eternal warrior version of Sigismund.
Yeah.
The only rule he's missing is the lack of eternal warrior. But he's just an absolute, like, just take him and then, you know, make him even more powerful by adding in a squad of Zenobian with them with him as well, and that unit will be utterly unstoppable.
So a squad of Zenobian, this guy, and a Moritat can all fit in one Land Raider. Just as an FYI for anyone watching.
Nutty. Cool. Right, let's go to this next one because I want to do
quickly
this
as well. We didn't quickly cover the armor of the forest and the mantle of the champion.
No, we did. He did that.
Oh, did you? I wasn't paying attention at all. Sorry, Lee.
Let's in awe of his blade.
Rob's favourite boy. Come on, Rob.
My favourite. This is my favourite model in the Forge World range, but I think
that alone is a bonkers statement.
I absolutely love this model and love the rules. So Marduk Cedras. So basically, he is the Eschaton of the Dreadwing, and he's kind of like this ancient warrior of renown.
He is the master of fucking shit up, correct?
Yes, exactly right.
If something needs to be fucked up, you send Marduk.
Send this guy. So he comes with Breath Skill 6. He also comes with 4 fucking wounds. He's initiative 5. 4 attacks, leadership 10, and a 2-up save. He has a plasma burner. We already know what that does. He's got 3 Phosphex bombs. Just comes with 3 Phosphex bombs. Just what? Grenade harness, which is excellent for all the reasons we've talked about, and then his armor, and then his sword. We'll talk about those 2 things in a second, though. He is obviously Dreadwing, so he'll be -1 strength on a couple of weapons like Volkite and other such weapons. He's got Ancient of War, but his warlord trait is the Preceptor of the Shattered Scepter. Now, basically, what this means is he can take a squad of Knights Zenobium as a command squad. Is essentially kind of all it means, which is fucking nuts that he can just be in a unit with one of those. So that really unlocks a lot of your elite slots as well, because Zenobium are in the elites. And then he also gives you an additional reaction in the opposing player's assault phase. And then Ancient of War. So it would be interesting to hear from Dark Angels players about this one, because, and I think that this might have been covered in the FAQ. So perhaps we could take a break after this and we can go have a look and we can get back to you. But basically, when he starts the game, anything.
Just speak really slowly, Rob. I'll go look now.
I mean, if it's not on here, it's probably not on the FAQ, because I went through the FAQ when I put these up, but I might have missed it.
So I don't think it's specific to him. I think it's not like a Marduk or Dark Angels rule.
Okay.
Aura buffs. But anyway, so when he starts the game, anything within 6 inches of him gains the preferred enemy chosen faction for the remainder of the game. Okay. Now, like, it might seem, that is quite a small thing. Preferred enemy on like number of units within a 12-inch bubble of him for the remainder of the game is fucking apeshit. They start with it and then they can move away from him and they just have preferred enemy, that chosen faction. Like, that, it is fucking nuts how good that is. Like, you know, your Zenobium that are with him now can choose the additional attacks. They don't need to re-roll ones because they're just re-rolling ones anyway. They've got preferred enemy now, so they can choose.
Bang him in a Land Raider and increase that bubble anyway.
And so, this is absolutely nuts how good it is. Now, where the issue comes is around line of sight and that buff aura. So if you put him in a Land Raider with that unit, does the Land Raider get it? Does the units beyond the Land Raider get it? And that was the issue. I think it was cleared up by the fact though, but we will double check. So absolutely nuts, and you're going to pack everything around him that you can to gain that preferred enemy. You know, can you imagine Contemptors just starting next to him, or Leviathans just with preferred enemy, that chosen faction? It's nuts. It's crazy. It's so good. He has 2-up, 4-up in Bun Save, and he automatically passes any dangerous terrain tests that he's called upon to make, and then his sword as well. So his sword is +5 strength, taking it to strength 9. It's AP2. It's unwieldy, and it's two-handed as well. And it's got the rule Curse of the Dead Worlds, which means invulnerable saves taken against hits inflicted by this weapon are reduced by 1. So let's say you've got a 5-up in Vun save, it now becomes a 6-up in vulnerable save, which is
that's fucking amazing.
It is nuts. So he's got like a super duper power fist sword kind of thing going on, essentially. Strength 9 is just like really nice, but the fact that your invuln is affected is crazy nuts. It's really, really good. Did you find anything about the fact, or do you want me to have a wee look?
I didn't look, to be honest, because I was kind of more. Yeah, basically, I was too interested in what you were saying.
That's all right. So I think the thing about there are other characters we're going to come to, but in the book, Marduk and Corswain are just 2 excellent characters that you could choose from. You got not got enough HQ slots or points to have all the characters you want in your list because they are so good.
No, that is very true. Yeah,
so,
I mean,
sorry.
Yeah, we are spoilt for choice with HQs here.
Yeah.
Once you've got a couple of Moritats in there as well.
Exactly. Right. So we will take a break now because we've done all the book parts. We'll go find out about that aura rule. And then when we come back, we will have a look at all the other rules that are for the Dark Angel as well. So we shall see you in a moment. Hello and welcome back to the final part of the Dark Angels Megasodes that we have been doing. So I couldn't find the rule. I clearly dreamt it that they sorted out the Marduk Sedress rule. So if you're a Dark Angels player, let us know in the comments below how you guys play it. Where does the aura stop? If he's in a transport, does it stop at the walls of the transport or the hull of the transport? Or do you let it go on? Let us know. But we're going to go through all the other rules, and there's a hell of a lot to still get through, and even kind of special characters as well as units as well. But we will have a look at the Inducti template while we're at it as well. Now, there's not too much to say really for the Inducti template for Siege of Colonia, and we've done an awful lot about these before. But essentially, they are able to take Volkite charges. I mean, the long and the short of it is that they can just swap out Volkite charges. Swap their bolters for Volkite charges, which is great. But as a result, they lose Fury of the Legion. But they're essentially a support squad, but with line, which I think is quite cool. And the fact that you can get them up to 20 guys as well is pretty good. But and they come with Heart of the Legion as well. I think that's great. There's not much more I really want to or can say about that. But that's going to take us to the Inner Knights Zenobium Order of the Broken Claw. Now, these guys, there's just kind of 2 things to say because they're pretty much exactly the same as the Knights Zenobium. You may have seen them kind of painted in some white heraldry. The real kind of like difference between these and the last guys we saw is access to the Advex Moor's Greatsword. We'll get to those in a second. But the Auto Preceptor can also take a Paragon Blade for 25 points. So now that we're getting to these kind of Auto Preceptors beyond Centurions are kind of almost becoming kind of like Praetor level characters, aren't they? But you can add an Advex Moor's Greatsword for 2 points and you can replace this Tyrannic Greatsword with the Advec Moor. So I'd be curious. In fact, I'll come to you guys. You tell me which one you think is better, the Greatsword or the Advex Moor's Greatsword. So it's +3 strength. So it's going to take you up to strength 7. It's AP3. It's melee 2-handed. It's breaching 5 up, but it is brutal 2.
So what you're saying is, would you rather forfeit Murderous Strike 5 up for Brutal 2?
Well, not only that, but it's breaching 5 up, so it's not an automatic wound. This in the same way that rending would be an automatic wound as well.
Yeah, that is true. I personally think the normal
Greatsword
would be my preference.
Okay, so it's interesting.
But these guys are clearly, like, if you read the Order of the Broken Claws rule, these guys are doing a different job.
Yeah, so it takes us to that thing, which is maybe this will change your opinion. So, models in a unit representing this order require 1 lower result to wound than they would normally use, to a minimum of a 2 up. So if they were wounding on, say, 4s, they would now wound on 3s. When attacking models with the Dreadnought unit type, or the Corruptive unit type, or the Monstrous unit subtype, or Shackled Artificer unit type, as part of a close combat as well. So not only are they strength 7, say against the Contemptor, which would be toughness 6, I think.
Toughness 7, Contemptor.
Toughness 7. So they would actually be wounding on 3s. They'd be breaching 5 up and then brutal 2 as well. So do you think that changes your opinion? These swords?
No, because I still think that you're fishing for those 5s anyway to get the Murderous Strike and the Rending. Personally, I'm still team regular.
Because even though you're wounding Contemptor on 1 easier, it's still only AP3, isn't it? It's still got its 2+ save. So the wounds that do go through, like you say, you want to be fishing for that Rending, really, don't you? Is the way I look at it.
Yeah. So we're gonna say go with the normal Zenobium opposed
regular
to
boys
instead of these guys. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
bin these guys off right in the bin. Okay,
that's our hot take. Right, John, do you want to take us through Fareth's Red Loss?
Not really. I can't even fucking read it. It's tiny.
So many rules.
I know. So he's 220 points, which is fairly chunky for a character.
Yep.
Weapon skill 6, BS5, 4, 3 wounds, initiative 5, 4 attacks. So he's Praetor level basically. You get 1 Fareth Red Loss for 220 points. You get the Dreadbringer's Plate, the Axe of Castigation, Frag Grenades, Crack Grenades, Rad Grenades, Melter Bombs, and 3 Phosphex Bombs. So again, he's another member of the Dreadwing. So he comes with the Dreadring Hexagrammaton. You can't change him. He is a Dreadwinger. He's got Master of the Legion, which is quite cool. So again, if you can build an army around him. He's Battle Hardened 1. So we know how super useful Battle Hardened is. Battle Hardened is, chef's kiss again.
Oh, that's so good. I didn't realize.
Yeah, Marshal of the Arsenal. And Warlord trait, Marshal of the Crown. So again, that's the Dreadwing, unique Warlord trait. So the Dreadbringer's Plate can grant a 2-up armor save and a 4+ invulnerable save. In addition, against any weapon with the Crawling Fire or Armor Bane Melter special rule, this invulnerable save is increased to 2-up. And any weapon with a poison.
What?
Any weapon the poison special rule can only wound Fareth on a roll of a 6.
That's insane. So basically, not only now would a melter shot just not instant kill him because he's got battle hardened, but also he's got a 2-up save against melter as well. That is fucking apeshit. That is so good.
Yeah. The Axe of Castigation, and because he's an independent character, you can, if someone shoots you with a load of melter guns, you can just take all the wounds on him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's exactly it, isn't it? Yeah, that's exactly what you can do.
Yeah, exactly.
One at a time until you lost a couple of wounds, and then you're gonna take it on some mooks. Yeah,
some regular mooks. Yeah, the Axe of Castigation is considered a single weapon with 2 profiles to represent different fighting styles employed by a Fareth Red Loss. In each fight subphase, Fareth's controlling player must choose one of these 2 profiles for use for all of his attacks. So you get an overhead strike, which is strength +3, to take him to strength 7, AP2, melee 2-handed, unwieldy, mastercrafted. Or sweeping strike, which is strength as user, AP2, melee, reaping blow 3, mastercrafted.
Fucking.
Yeah, I don't think you're ever going to use the overhead strike, because I think if it took him to strength 8, I think you would, because strength. But then he's got rad grenades, so actually, perhaps you would because he's going to be.
Yeah, that's a good point. Good point.
Dumbing people out. It's got fucking rad grenades.
So I just, before we get to his Master of Arsenal, like the fact I just can't get over he's got battle hardened and like if you put him with 5 Zenobium, and he's doing his Dreadwing thing, fine, whatever, but they're doing their Deathwing thing, and then you're just like, okay, loads of melter to the face, just take it on him. My guys are going to survive. The normal guys just take wounds because they're all characters. Just on stuff that isn't melter. Like this is. My God, this is
not only that, but also then because he's got rad grenades, all of his guys are with their tyrannic greatswords.
Oh my God, The instant
killing. Yeah.
Oh my god. This is just make Faris like if you're watching it. I actually think that this guy's got more utility than I know. Corswain's good.
Corswain is good. I mean, like Marduk's got utility. This guy just makes.
Fuck. It's so good. Fuck.
Can you imagine both of them in the same list?
Oh my god. I couldn't cope. Cool, right, Master of Arsenal.
Yeah. So yeah, basically at the start of this battle, you get to pick a weapon.
Yeah.
So you can either have a neural shredder carbine, which is strength 1, AP2, but it's assault 2, poison 4 up, ignores cover and pinning. That's great. You're going to guarantee
it's AP2. Sorry, yeah, no, yeah, it's AP2. Yeah. Sorry, I was like, it's all right. Okay, AP2. Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah. Magaron pattern. Atomantic pulse pistol, which is strength 8, AP2, pistol 1, lance, and shock pulse.
Shock pulse, okay. Bananas. That's crazy, yeah.
Yeah. And a shard bolt pistol, which is strength 12, strength 4, AP5, pistol 4, rending 6 up, moon silver. Moon silver is any unsaved wounds against with the demon unit subtype. Psyker subtype is instead counted as 2 wounds. Me.
I'd go for the neural shredder.
Correct.
Yeah, every day.
Because you're going to want this guy into combat, and forcing pinning tests is just wild.
Great.
Yeah, if you can stop and shut down a assault reaction, like a Overwatch reaction.
Yep.
Or you charge with them. Perfect.
Absolutely. This guy fucking bonkers.
I can't get over how good this is, and I'm surprised I've never seen him in anybody's list before because this
is... people just assume the Legacy's book is trash unless it's full.
And that's the trouble, isn't it? Yeah, that is it. Like generally, most things from the Legacy are fucking shit,
or garbage, or overcosted.
Yeah.
Fuck. Anyway,
okay.
Holgwyn.
Whoa, a lot cheaper. Lee, do you want to do this one?
Yeah, so Holgwyn, movement 6, weapon skill 6, ballistic skill 5, strength, toughness, and wounds 4, initiative 5, attacks 4, leadership 10, a 2+ save. He has the Deathbringer's Aegis, the Viridian Blade, and a Volkite Charger. He is unique, heavy, and has the Deathwing subtype. He's an independent character, Master of Legion, relentless, stubborn, bulky 2. He is a loyalist, and again, he has Marshal of the Crown Warlord trait.
I thought so. You were saying the guy who tripped Kurz up.
Oh, you think this is?
I think it's this.
Oh, maybe.
I think this guy. Yeah.
I mean, whoever it is a fucking legend. Such a shit cunt move, isn't it? Whoa! Watch your footing, dickhead. So Deathbringer's Aegis grants a 2+ armor save and a 4+ invuln save, and additionally the Feel No Pain 5+ special rule.
Yeah, that's all right.
Viridian Blade is 2+ strength, AP 2, melee, 2-handed, mastercrafted, reaping blow 2.
Yeah, well, he's no Fareth Red Loss, is he? But
no, but he is 70 points cheaper. I think
that's it, isn't it?
He's Master Legion and he's stubborn.
Yep.
And he's Deathwing, so he's kind of quite themey.
If you want a fairly cheap kind of Praetor for your Deathwing, Deathwing force, then kind of this is the guy. But then part of me thinks it's probably worth spending a bit more points to get
on Corswain.
Shit kicker.
Yeah, on a Corswain, exactly. 50 points gets you a Corswain.
Yeah, I think that's the problem, which is that but basically if you're thinking, okay, I'm just going to take a Praetor, just take this guy because the points will basically be the same. And the Viridian Blade is a pretty good weapon. I know it's not got murder strike in the way a Paragon Blade does or whatever. But
he does get 5 up Feel No Pain.
Yeah, but exactly that. Like he gets 5 Feel No Pain. But if you got 50 points to spare, you just for Deathwing, you're just going to take Corswain. Like you just
off. Deathwing, Terminator, Cataphracti companions.
So these are exactly the same, I think, apart from they can't take the funky shield.
No.
And they are Cataphracti. I don't think there's much more to say beyond that. They can't even take a flag, I don't think, as a retinue. So
no.
Thunderhammer for 5 points is pretty good. Tyrannic Greatsword for 3, pretty good.
Yes.
Yeah, so but they can't take a funky shield. So I don't know. Yeah, I suppose if you want a modelling opportunity,
I think these are pretty cool. I think these are nice. I think these are fine.
It's a slightly more survivable unit that can take wounds again, isn't it?
Yeah. But I think you've got to compare this. So it's 240 points for 5. They're multi-wound. They've got, but they are still weapon skill 5. They are obviously Deathwing, so you're probably going to want to put Tyrannic Greatswords on. I think the thing about this is you're always going to compare them to the Inner Knight Zenobium that have a weapon skill. They're all characters. They have a weapon skill 6 character in there, and they also have the additional kind of like the additional rule that they can have as well. And for the 20, 35 point extra,
35 points,
you're probably
just take it.
You're just going to take that, and that's the problem with things like this, which is that they're great flavor, but if you're weighing up the points, then the Knights Zenobium I think are just better.
I agree with you. I couldn't agree more. Deathwing Terminator Tartarus companions.
Exactly the same, but
Firewing Enigmatus Cabal.
So
for starters, it's rare to see a Firewing unit.
Yeah, mainly because we haven't got models. I think that could change with. I know it's Primaris, but when I saw the new Primaris models that were all hidden up, I was like, people are going to use those for Firewing. So yeah, John, why don't you take us through these ones?
Okay, yeah, sure. So it's 100 points for 3 guys, which is weird. So 3 guys is an unusual amount. Could present, as Rob said, a fun modeling opportunity, but are they worth it? So weapon skill 5, which is good, BS4, strength 4 times 4, 2 wounds, initiative 5, 3 attacks base. Like it. You get 3 of them. They come with power armor, a Calibanite charge blade, a needle pistol, shroud bombs, and a jump pack.
Okay, so if you're going to compare them to consoles 60 points base.
Yep.
They're basically the same. Well, sorry, they're not same set line. They're basically, but these guys are 33 points, and the only thing they're missing is the Artificer armor.
Yep.
And a refractor field.
Yeah.
But they do come with other.
They come with other cool stuff.
Yeah.
As an example, they're special. Well, they got cool Wargear.
Yeah.
Like the needle pistol is great. Shroud bombs are great. The jump pack is great. Like you pay 15 points for a jump pack?
I think it's 10. I think it's 10.
10 for a console. But they get their chosen warriors. They get outflank, mark for death, and enigmatis exhaust projector as their special rules. And one guy in the squad can take a missile launcher for 25 points with a suspensor web, so you can move and fire it. You can't take any more, so they are limited to 3 guys. The Calibanite charge blade is counted as a power weapon for those rules that affect such weapons. So it's worth bearing in mind they're Firewing, so you can't give them a different hexagrammaton.
Yeah.
What does Firewing do?
Just to interrupt, I lied to you, John. It is 20 points for a Warhawk jump pack.
Ah, there you go.
So already for a Centurion, would be around 80 points, and then these guys are 33 points base.
Yep. Rob, what does the Firewing grant you again? I've completely forgotten.
It's rerolling ones, I think, to wound. If there's an independent character within that.
Yeah.
Cool. Right. Wonderful. So Calibanite charge blade, strength +1, AP3, melee, rending 6 up, blade charge. So blade charge is once per battle. A unit includes any models with this weapons special may declare a blade charge at the start of the control and assault phase. For the duration of that phase, the attacks made by this weapon are considered to have gained the rending 3+ special rule.
And it wasn't, it's not reroll ones, it's +1 to wound.
If a unit contains independent
character. Yeah, so that's pretty good. They got +1 strength, and then
+1 to wound as well.
+1 to wound as well. Yeah, that's not too shabby.
These are cool. Needle pistol is range 12, strength 2, but it is pistol 2, and it's poison 3 up and pinning.
Yeah,
really, really cool.
That's great. Yeah, that's really, really good.
Yeah. So the exhaust projector on any turn in which a model with a special rule enters the battlefield from reserve gains the shrouded 4-up special rule for the remainder of that turn.
Yeah.
And then they have shroud bombs as well.
Whoa. Okay. Yeah, that's.
I think these guys are really cool. But
they're really
100
cool,
points. Yeah. I think if you got 100 points is such an annoying amount of points to have left in because you can't really get Jav in there for 100 points, right? Because you need to you want to give it like a multi-melter and a decent better weapon and 100 killer missiles. Like, what do you spend 100 points on? If you're a Dark Angel player, just buy 3 of these guys because they're going to sit in the fast attack slot, which you're unlikely to have filled up fully.
Yeah.
I think the only thing for me that lets us down slightly is you can't make the squad any bigger than 3. I think if you could add more dudes to this, because the trouble is you lose one guy and instantly they're just going to
damage output so much less, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean,
they've
got 4 attacks on the charge.
Oh no, they're good. I just think like if you could bump these up to 5 or 6 dudes, I think they would be fucking brilliant. I love them. I would, if I was doing a Firewing, I would probably add these just because I think it's a cool modeling opportunity.
Yeah,
and I like the unit, but I do think that starting with 3, like
I think these are fucking great. I think this is like
it's interesting. Yeah, they're interesting.
I think
the charge blade and the needle pistol is going to give you +1 attack as well, right?
Yep, that's right.
Yeah, so you're going to have 4 attacks, 5 each on the charge, 15 attacks from 3 guys. A weapon skill 5, +1 strength.
Attack squad will shoot these off the table in 1 turn.
I don't know if they will.
That's. I think that's the problem. I think so. So the issue I think you've got with this is that, I was thinking, well, what would you do? You would drop them in maybe backfield and try and take a heavy support squad, and they've got the shrouded, but actually it's not on the deep strike that's the issue. I think it's the charging in that's going to be the issue. So you can take these. They're quite good at taking out units that are power armored units, I think.
No, I think you send these in against Legion Terminator squads.
Terminator squads? Oh, because they're
Legion Terminator squads.
Yeah.
Free up rending. They are wounding them on they're hitting them with 3s.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, okay. Because their shooting output would be pretty low, wouldn't it, on a Terminator squad as well?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Well, a 5-man Terminator squad would still probably kill most of these in Overwatch. Like,
I don't know if they would. They got 2 wounds. Like I
guess 2
wounds. I don't
help.
see it, Lee. I'll be honest with you. I forget what Mark for Death does. Well, I'm just quickly gonna research that because I've completely fucking forgotten what it does. And now I can't find.
I think because they got shroud bombs as well, they would be 6 inches further away for shooting. So you wouldn't probably be able to double tap at them. So you'd be limited on how many things you can kind of double tap depending on the range. But I think they're in.
I really like them.
I think with this unit, they were like, what weird rules can we just throw in and see what we can
I think this is the sort of unit that is either going to do like land and get shot off turn 1, or they're going to spend the whole game just fucking murdering people. I think it's one of those things. You'll either forget they were even in the game, or they're going to be absolute dick swingers.
For 100 points, really, as John said, it's worth.
I think for 100 points, I think these are an absolute no-brainer. So Mark for Death, I remember now. I thought it was preferred infantry. It's not. It's reroll fail. You pick a unit, and the unit gains reroll 1s to wound against them.
Okay.
That's great. So basically, you're never going to fail a wound because you've got also +1 to wound on that as well.
Yeah.
If they've got an independent character, of course. There's lots of ifs, I think, in the.
I think these are great.
If they survive, if they get in, if they manage to hit, blah, 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 blah. There are loads of ifs, but definitely worth taking.
If you've used them, let us know.
Yeah.
Let us know how
because I've never seen them used, but I think I would be if I was building a Dark Angel army, which to be honest, I'm going to do immediately as soon as we finish. Then I'm going to rummage through my bits box and see what I've got. Then 3 of these guys, 100%.
So I think we've got something special coming up, from what I recall. Yeah. Okay. So the Exindio battle.
Sorry, I didn't realize how small I made this.
Okay, we're gonna have to squint on this one. So there is no model for this at the moment, and I suppose this is kind of links to what we were saying about kind of units being linked to the old knight and Wargear being linked to the old knight, isn't it? Like this is like a fucked up old knight AI kind of thing that was totally outlawed by the Emperor, but the Dark Angels in the worst situations will unleash the Exindio battle. Or
were these the ones that they had like 6 of them or something, and they just drop them in a planet, and then the 6 of them would just fucking murder, death, kill?
Who knows with the Dark Angels? They're wily bastards. So I don't know, but there's quite a lot of things to go through. So and I think that the issue you've got for the Exindio battle automata is deciding on what weapons to take. It's not a 0 to 1 choice, but you can only have 1 in a unit, is what I would say. And then it's interesting to note that you've got this Exindio battle automata, and also with the Order of the Broken Claw, the Broken Claw has actually got +1 to wound, didn't they, against Exindio battle automata, which suggests that these things can go wrong at sometimes, and you all guys will have to fight the battle automata. But we shall find out in a moment. So they're 350 points. So more expensive than a Leviathan Dreadnought. So I think that will be useful for us to compare the Leviathan to this. And would we want a Leviathan or would we want this? So movement 8. So faster than the Leviathan. Weapon skill 6. Better.
Can I just say, a weapon skill 6 automata is fucking insane.
Yeah.
So that's fucking amazing.
Already on those 2 things, they're significantly better. And I think the other thing about the movement is that they'll get +1 to their charge because they've got movement 8 as well. Ballistic skill 5, strength 7, toughness 7, wounds 6. So all pretty similar to a Leviathan, lower than a Leviathan. I think one of those is 8 for a Leviathan, isn't it?
Leviathan's toughness 8, aren't they?
Yeah. So slightly less. Initiative 4, which is good. Attacks 5, which is very, very good. Leadership 9 and a 2-up save. So it's got heavy. So it can't run, but it's obviously going to be able to re-roll armor saves against blast templates, of which it has a 2-up as well, which is very, very good. It's got It Will Not Die 4-up, which is great. Vengeful Rage and Cybernetica Exterminator, which we'll get to in a bit. But it's Wargear, so it's got 2 Extinctor Power Claws. Now, the additional attack for those 2 claws is already inbuilt. So if we start taking one of those away, it does mean we're going to lose an attack. We've got 2 manipulator arms on it, and then 2 combi bolters as well, and an internal refractor field. Let me just have a look what an internal refractor field does. I assume it's a 5-up, so it's a 5-up in bun save. And in addition, should a model lose its last wound, then all the models within D6 plus 4 inches suffer a strength 8 AP-hit. So that could go up to a 10-inch, a 20-inch bubble. Are we saying it would be a 20-inch bubble, right? So it's 10 all around. So 20-inch bubble of kind of strength 8. So be very careful what blows up around it. It may take, and this I think is so saucy, it may take a Legion Dreadnought drop pod or a Legion Charybdis assault claw. Now, remember, if you were to buy a Charybdis and you just bought it a single Charybdis, it wouldn't be able to assault out of that Charybdis due to what the kind of the FAQ has said. But if you're doing an orbital assault list and you buy it a Charybdis, it can assault out of it. So this is quite a scary prospect. Having something like this hopping out of a Charybdis and then being able to charge out the Charybdis as well. So its Wargear options are quite expensive, I think, but and I'm going to kind of perhaps we can come back to the points a little bit later because we don't really know what these things do as of yet. So, but the most important thing is that it may exchange both an Extinctor Power Claw and a Manipulator Arm for one of the following. So let me just read that again, just so I'm clear about that. So both an Extinctor Power Claw and a Manipulator Arm for one of the following. So does that mean it could have 4 of the same weapon? Or
yeah.
No. It will. So I played against one of these. And I think Jason bought one to my last event, actually. Shout out to Jason if you're listening. Hope you are. So you would end up with a manipulator arm and a claw and a range weapon, or 2 range weapons, and you'd have no claws or manipulator arms.
Right. Okay. So 2. Oh, I see. So I'm looking at it.
Essentially, it's got
4,
5 attacks with
4.
Yeah, as it currently stands, it's got 5 attacks with 2 potential profiles, depending on whether you have the power claw or the manipulator arm.
Yeah.
Makes sense?
Yeah.
No.
No.
Explain that to me again.
The manipulator arms is an additional attack per arm, per turn. Sorry. For each manipulator arm,
you're right. You are right. Sorry.
The automata may make a single additional attack per turn. So yeah.
As if it's got a servo arm, basically.
You take one of these weapons, you're losing an Extinctor Power Claw and a single manipulator arm. So you're massively reducing. Well, not massively, but you are reducing its close combat ability.
Okay, so just to make this clear, right, for the listeners, but also myself, because of the way in which this is, I wish this is one of those things where they gave us an example. So I have 2 power claws on this creature.
Yes,
which enables you to make.
Wait. I've got 2 power claws on this and a manipulator and 2 manipulator arms.
Yes.
Right. But what I can't do if I want to replace it with a shooting weapon,
Mm-hmm.
I can't have 4 shooting weapons because they're not independent.
No.
A claw and a manipulator arm goes together and creates 1 shooting weapon.
Correct.
And then another claw and a manipulator arm. I can get rid of that, so I can have 2 shooting weapons.
Yep.
I could have 2 kind of 4 hands like General Grievous.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or I could have an arm and a claw and then 1 shooting weapon.
Yeah.
Just imagine the manipulator arm is coming out of the power claw.
Got it. Okay, that's a much right. Okay, that's good.
Like
good.
the tongue from Aliens.
Okay. General Grievous is not a good analogy then. Actually,
Yeah, no.
2 alien heads is a better one.
Let's try again. Yeah. So as it currently stands out of the box, right? Vanilla flavored.
Yeah.
You get 5 attacks at strength 1 AP2.
Yeah.
With brutal 2. Lovely stuff.
That's
great.
Very,
and then you get
good.
2 additional attacks at strength 8 AP2 with lance.
Whoa.
What you can then do is you can give it a gun, at which point you get 4 attacks at strength 1 AP2 and 1 attack at strength 1 AP strength 8 AP2.
Yeah. No, I don't know if that's correct because it says an Exindio battle automaton may exchange both an extinct power claw and a manipulator arm for one of the following.
Which means you'd lose an attack on its profile, bring it down to 4.
Oh, sorry, based by 1.
Yeah.
I thought it said 2-1. I was like, what? Yeah. That's so many attacks you're gonna lose then. Okay, cool. Yeah, okay, cool.
Okay, right.
Sorry, right. Back to the shooting weapons. Right, let's find out what they do.
The guns.
So the Athanax pattern, I don't know if we'll get rid of that or kind of like include it all. I'm not sure. So an Athanax pattern Phosphex canister launcher is 18 inches range, strength 5 AP2, heavy 1, blast 3 up, barrage, poison 3 up, cooling fire, lingering death. Basically, it's a Phosphex launcher.
Yeah,
nothing too expensive about that. Still good. They're pretty good, and the fact that they're not one use makes them, that it's a really valuable thing to have a Phosphex launcher just on your arm. A Tyrenius pattern nerve induction shredder, 24 inches, strength 1, AP4, heavy 8. Oh, that's quite good. Poison 4 up, breaching 4 up, pinning. I love that. I think that's brilliant. That's a very, very, very good weapon. Megaron pattern atomantic pulse cannon, 24 inches, strength 8, AP2, heavy 2.
Came up with these fucking names.
Shock pulse.
That's fucking wild.
That is
pretty
good. And then Cytheron pattern graviton flux projector. So it's a template, strength dash, AP4, heavy 1, graviton collapse, torsion cutter, ignores cover, concussive.
So that's basically like the graviton, the grav weapon that.
But it's a template rather than a
template. Yeah, but it's template.
Yeah. So okay, well, just as a go with your gut, Lee, what would you go for there? Which weapon would you go for?
Oh, I don't know.
Which one do you like the look of the most?
Oh, I mean, the shredder for killing infantry.
That
or the pulse cannon for popping tanks.
20 points, and then the pulse cannon is going to cost you 30 points.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. John, how about yourself? Which one would you go for?
I'd be tempted to keep it all arms all the time. The party, the party variant, but I think I would probably. I don't know. They're all pretty good. I think I wanted to get up in people's grills, so I'd maybe go for either the nerve shredder or I quite like the idea of the phosphex cannon. I think this guy feels so like Dreadwingy to me that I feel like it should have the phosphex canister launcher.
Okay, that's quite interesting. And would you either of you consider giving it 2 of the same weapons? So would you consider giving it 2 nerve induction shredders or say 2 pulse cannons?
I think 2 pulse cannons makes it quite potent.
It would cost you 410 points.
I think that is madness.
I look at this a bit like the Leviathan. I feel you kind of need to do all or nothing, really.
Right.
I think all shooting or all close combat.
I want to keep it all combat, and I want to run it. I want to drop it down, and I want to run it into the middle of my opponent's battle line, and then wait for it to go bang after it, murder a load of stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
And just use it as a bomb.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there's quite a lot to unpack.
What would you do then, Rob?
So if I'd go for the induction shredder, and give it 1 induction shredder, and then close combat arms, and hope that I pin unit.
I think that's probably the way that I would go, or I would go all flailing arms and bomb.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's the fact it's 350 points is quite a lot, but it's just so fucking tough. However, it does have a number of other rules. Now we'll come to the Cybernetica Exterminator in a bit. Perhaps one of you can have a look in the Mechanicum rules, the Artificer Machina Cyberthurgic Arcana, on page 94 of the Liber Mechanicum.
Oh, I'm on it.
While I go through Vengeful Rage. So these are the bits where it all sounds hunky-dory. However, things are not quite as hunky-dory as it might seem. So quite a lot to go through here. So Vengeful Rage. At the end of any turn in which this model suffers one or more unsaved wounds, take a leadership test. If the test is failed, the unit enters a Vengeful Rage and must abide by all of the following restrictions. So that's just one wound it's got to lose, okay? And you've got to fail a leadership check as well. And it's going to go into a Vengeful Rage. While in a Vengeful Rage, the Exindio may be targeted as though it was an enemy model by friendly unit. So hence the Order of the Broken Claws having to step in and sort out this. So Vengeful Rage, this is what it does. During the movement phase, the model must move towards the nearest visible unit friendly or enemy. If no unit is visible or more than one unit is equidistant to the unit, then the controlling player may choose which one it goes towards. Okay. During the shrink phase, the model must target the nearest enemy unit with all available weapons. If two units are equidistant, then the controlling player charges. And I think you can guess what's going to happen here. During the assault phase, the model must declare a targeted during to the nearest enemy unit, friendly or foe. If two units are equidistant, then the player gets to choose. If this unit succeeds in charging a friendly unit, it will proceed to attack them in the fight subphase, treating them as enemy models for the duration of the combat as well. So if you lose one wound, and on top of that, you fail a leadership check, is going to start rampaging through lots of people's lines. Now, that's no problem at all if your Exindio Battle Automata is close to your enemies, but if it is close to you at any point and gets shot and then it's herring through your back lines, that is, I think, where it's going to be difficult. So you want that thing in your opponent's face as quickly as possible and away from you as quickly as possible. So it does have the Shackled Artificer unit type as well. And this is its actual unit type. So there are a number of rules that go along with this. So the first one is successful wounds scored by attacks with the poison or fleshbane must be re-rolled. That's really good. So that's going to make it more survivable. All models with a shackled... Oh my god! I've just read ahead here and see what it says. All models with a Shackled Artificer unit type have the fearless Rage 2 and Hatred Everything special.
Oh god, yes. I fucking love this. This is
fucking hell.
amazing.
So if it charges, it's not +1 attack, it's +2 for the rage, but also it gets to re-roll those failed to hits as well. Okay. A model with the Shackled Artificer type may fire all its weapons in the shooting attack. They ignore kind of heavy and ordnance. You don't need to worry about that one. May declare charges as normal, and then they cannot. So no model that is not also a Shackled Artificer unit type may join Shackled Artificer. So basically, they're just on their lonesome. And then models with the Shackled with that unit type can never count as scoring, no matter what it is. However, they do count as denial units as well. Now, it does have a kill switch, so you can potentially switch this thing off. So any Legion Tech Marine or Legion Centurion with the Forged Lord console upgrade and the Legion Astartes Dark Angels rule, set this as part of the same attachment, may take a kill switch for 5 points. I think, considering the damage it could potentially do to your lines, I think 5 points is probably a good investment. A model equipped with a kill switch may inflict D6 wounds on a friendly model with the Shackled Artificer special rule as long as they are within 12 inches. So if they haven't been fucking charged by it and then fucking decimated, they can still use a kill switch. No saves of any kind may be taken against these wounds. This counts as shooting attacks. If the use of the Artificer kill switch causes a friendly unit to be removed from play, then the opposing player gains no victory points for its destruction. So you can take it out if you're fucking close to it.
This is where I would have this. I would have my Tech Marine. I'd move it within fucking 12 inches of this thing. I'd roll 5 on a D6 and then it proceed to tear me to pieces. Fucking charge me and just fucking kicks him across the battlefield.
Yeah. Okay.
I
John.
love this.
John, do you want to tell us about
brilliant.
Cybernetica Exterminator?
Yeah, it's a cyber thurgic attack. So you have to take a leadership test on leadership 9, and if you fail it, then you suffer cyber thurgic feedback. So you suffer D3 wounds basically,
Right,
as
okay.
if Lee failed a psychic test. But if you pass, then you have a 12-inch assault weapon that is assault D6, and it has haywire.
Oh, right. Okay. Oh, interesting.
So it's strength 1, AP 1, but it also has the data gin special rule, which is the same as a lot of other weapons have in the mechanical book. So basically, if it's not a dreadnought or an automata, then it can't do anything. Like, automatically fails to wound.
Got it. Okay, so
essentially it does like a fucking corrupted data blast, and anything like a unit within 12 inches is going to suffer D6 haywire hits.
Okay, so how would we rate the Exindio? Would you take this over
11 out of 10? 11 out of 10.
100%.
One, like, anyone who's ever played a game against me knows I'm a big fan of the jeopardy of wargaming. I'm not necessarily mathematics. I like the random, like, on a roll of a 6, something brilliant's going to happen. On a roll of a 1, I'm completely fucked. So this for me in a drop pod is an auto.
Yeah. Stick it in a drop pod, drop it in your opponent's back line, and just let it go fucking nuts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, what a fucking...
Because you lose... I think that's interesting, because even if you put it in a Dreadnought drop pod and your opponent shoots at it, you just like... You can shoot it all you want, because it's going to fucking...
You're just going to piss it off.
Yeah.
You're just pissing it off.
It's going to go into you, and it's going to fucking murder shit. So please feel free to shoot this thing.
In the backfield would be such a distraction. Like, your opponent has to deal with this.
Yeah.
And even when it goes bang, it's going to do damage. Like, it's
fuck it. It was a 20-inch fucking strength 8 bubble. Like, fucking hell, that's nuts.
I think it's fucking brilliant. I think it's a shame they never made a model for this, because it would look fucking nuts.
This is, for me, this is an absolute auto include.
Yeah,
and you can, 100%. If you want to, take 3 of them in an army as well. So that's
well. I think we know what we're doing for our next Patreon special model, don't we?
Fucking hell. Whoa, that's crazy. Right. Okay. Have we got any more units, or is that it? Is that the first thing you've done?
That's it.
Oh, mate, I'm so enthused about Dark Angel right now. I can barely contain my excitement. I'll have to go for a fucking walk just to calm myself down.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, yeah. A really cool fucking Legion. I think the rules as well. I mean, just finishing it off with the Exindio Dreadnought really feels like the old knight kind of.
It's so flavorful in comparison to some of the other Legions. Like, it really is.
Yeah, and like loads of special characters to choose from, loads of special units to choose from.
The models are great.
Yeah, those units as well, none of them, I think you're just going to go, oh, I wouldn't have that in my army. No. Like, all of them, you're like, actually, these are all really, really good units to take. Like, they've all got a role and a purpose. So the Dark Angel's got a lot of love in this edition. Lee, what's your hot take on the Dark Angels?
I think, like we said from the very beginning, if you want to run the Dark Angels, you need to play Dark Angels. You need to really, really, really take these, run them out, and just because they've got so many rules. There's rules for rules, rules overlapping rules, and then each unit has their own rules. Like, you really need to just fucking play games with them and just get used to it. And accept the fact that you're probably going to lose a lot of your first games because you've forgotten 90% of the rules that they actually have. But I fucking love the Dark Angels. I think they're brilliant. I love what they've done with them in this edition, and definitely take that Battle Automata because it's fucking insane.
take three of them.
Take 3 of them.
No, that's nice.
Oh, the person that does that, I will send them a prize.
It's only going to cost you what, 500 points per Dreadnought drop pod. Exindio. So, it's
worth it, mate.
Army,
2 10-man tax squads done.
2 tax squads and then
marshal signals to make sure those pods come in nice and on time, and away you go.
Awesome. Cool. Okay. Well, we hope you enjoyed our kind of analysis.
We've got loads left to do, Rob. Let me close out the show.
Well, I was just going to say, I hope they enjoyed their analysis. And somebody did send in a Dark Angels list to us, but we haven't had time to look at it because this is now getting bordering on a 3-hour show. So perhaps we will look at it at another point. But John, why don't you see us out with
we'll do. Dan, Gator 3D, what a hero. He's done some more printing for us recently. He's sent us over the test prints of our new Mini. Just an all-round super good guy. He does phenomenal quality printing work. If you want some printing done, give Dan a shout. Gator 3D. Bits Monster. Oh, these guys, honestly, just absolutely wizard. They are adding more and more lines to Heresy kind of regular catalog as they go through. They are a bits reseller, so essentially if you don't want a whole box to do, just want a bits and bobs, then head over and see them. Bitsmonster.com. They have free UK shipping over 25 quid. Excellent value international shipping, and if you use the code Heresy Hammer, you get a 10% off all Horus Heresy items as well, which is super generous of them. And then lastly, an enormous thank you to all of these absolute heroes. Like we've said, at some point I'll do a data blast, which just includes all of these names because there are too many to read out now. These are all of our top tier patrons, so those subscribed to the Heresy Hammer Patreon at the Praetor tier. These guys will all be in receipt of the upcoming heavily armored flag wearer kit, which Rob has done an unboxing of over on the Heresy Hammer Patreon, and also has painted them up on the Metas Miniatures Instagram page as well. So go and check that out.
Which you cannot buy, nor are
you
we
cannot buy.
And
no,
they are simply
gifts.
They are simply gifts for our top tier patrons.
They are tokens of our affection.
Correct.
For the support and loyalty that all of these people have shown us. So exactly. Honestly, this is absolutely mind-blowing. You guys are all heroes in our eyes. If you'd like to subscribe to the Heresy Hammer Patreon, you can visit patreon.com/HeresyHammer. You can subscribe for just £3 a month. Anything is appreciated. It helps us, keep into honest with you, because we are all tired. Right. As always, if you've enjoyed this episode as much as we have enjoyed putting it together, please hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, it costs nothing. Bang the subscriber in. We really appreciate it. Give us a comment. Let us know what you've enjoyed about the last week in Heresy, because it's been pretty full on. Let us know your thoughts about the Dark Angels. Are you going to be taking the Excendio Battle Automata or not? If you've got lists, like I said, I said I really want to do a correspondence special. We might do that over on the Patreon, but I think we should do a correspondence special pretty soon. So send us your lists and any other kind of tips and bits and bobs over to heresyhammer30k@gmail.com. And if you really like what we do, then you can get twice as much Heresy Hammer over on the Patreon for just £3. Anything else to say, or should we go home? We're already at home, but should we go and do other things with our day?
Let's do it.
Like write Dark Angels lists and then paint Dark Angels models and then play games with Dark Angels.
Exactly that.
Right, say goodbye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.